We've reached the final month of the regular season. It's 6 games today between ranked opponents, starting with the top 15 matchup in the Big 12. It's Baylor and Oklahoma. Welcome to the Ford Fox Sports 1 College Football pregame, sponsored by the Ford F-Series, built Ford tough. On a perfect day in Norman, it's a top 15 matchup in the Big 12 between number 15 Oklahoma and 12th ranked Baylor, as the Sooners get ready to take the field in front of this capacity crowd with a 96th consecutive sellout. Built Ford tough. Welcome inside. Joe Davis, Joey Harrington, Chris Button joins us in a moment. So this is the second week that we've seen the playoff committee rankings, and it has fan bases all over the country stirred up, as you might expect. And we got a long way to go, but we sure will know a lot more after today.
That's right, Joe. Today, between ranked opponents, and while no one's going to play themselves into the college football playoff, there are going to be 6 teams today that play themselves out. And if these 2 teams want to remain in the discussion, I believe it's going to happen on the ground. When you think of Baylor, you think of a high-powered offense, but Baylor's defense, led by defensive lineman Sean Oakman, ranked 8th in the country against the run, giving up less than 100 yards a game. They're going against Oklahoma's rush offense, led by freshman phenom Samaje Perine. This guy is fantastic. 510 total yards for Oklahoma against Iowa State last week on the ground. This game is going to be one in the trenches.
All right, it's Oklahoma and it's Baylor, a top 15 matchup with Big 12 title and playoff implications from Norman on a perfect day on the other side of this break. Sports 1 College Football is presented by K Jewelers. Not a cloud in the sky for this top 15 matchup between Baylor and Oklahoma, in a series that was once dominated by the Sooners. Oklahoma won the first 20 meetings in this series. It dates back to 1901, but Baylor has won 2 of the last 3, though has never won here in Norman. Oklahoma fans on the edges of their seats wondering about a couple of key injuries. And with answers, we check in with Chris Button.
Yeah, Joe, the Sooners were hoping to get 2 key pieces of their offense on the field today, but the Oklahoma coaching staff decided just within the last 15 minutes that leading wide receiver Sterling Shepard will not play today because of a groin injury. We watched him during warm-ups. He seemed like he was in good spirits early on, but about halfway through, you could tell he tweaked it and was in obvious pain and was just not the same during warm-ups, so he will not play today. However, Keith Ford, the running back who's missed the last 5 games, they are going to try to get him on the field today. They watched him during warm-ups as well. We're hoping that he would be able to feel good when they cut, so he did feel well, so he is going to try and play today, which is good news to get an extra piece of this ground game back, considering they think the wind today will be up to 30 miles an hour, Joe.
All right, Chris, so we're all set. Bob Stoops has never lost back-to-back home games. Remember, they lost to Kansas State the last time they were in this stadium. 2 losses for Oklahoma to teams now in the top 10 by a combined 5 points, and his team trying to keep its Big 12 title hopes alive. Still with an outside shot, being part of the playoff discussion. We'll dive into how as this day rolls on. And then Art Briles, who's had so much success in his time at Baylor, but has never won against a top 25 team on the road. And Chris told us about the wind, which will gust up to 30 miles per hour today. That's the second time the ball has fallen off of the tee.
Everybody worries about the wind if you're a quarterback, but how about the kickers?
Yeah.
The kickers got to deal with it just as much as everybody else does.
So now they've got to bring a holder over to make sure that wind doesn't blow the football right off of the tee. Spencer Evans, true freshman, will kick it away to the nation's top kick returner, Alex Ross, who's taken 2 back this season. Bunched with Deron Neal. And away we go in this critical top 15 matchup. And it's Neal back into the end zone. He was kicking with the wind. So Oklahoma will start at the 25. Joey, give us 3 things we need to know.
Well, Joe, last week, Trevor Knight for Oklahoma, we saw him emerge as a runner again, 146 yards against Iowa State. Will we see that kind of ground production again out of him? Well, if it's not coming from the quarterback, it's coming from Samaje Perine, the freshman phenom, a 243-pound bowling ball that moves like he's about 180 pounds. This guy is fantastic. Baylor's defense is up to the task, though. Sean Oakman and Andrew Billings have played tremendous for the Baylor defensive line, ranking 8th in the country against the rush.
Big 12's #1 run defense, and they held Oklahoma to its lowest regular season total on the ground last year. They start with a play-action pass, and Knight taking a shot for Bell, who can't pull it in at midfield. Running by Bryce Hager, and it's 2nd down and 10.
Joe, everybody remembers Blake Bell, the Belldozer, the guy who built a cult following around the country as the quarterback who'd come in on short yardage and goal line situations for Oklahoma. Made an incredibly unselfish move, told the coaches, I'm going to go to tight end to help him out. And it's really paid off for him this year.
On 2nd and 10. First carry for Perine goes for a minimal gain. The true freshman gets a couple, and Andrew Billings, who you mentioned, makes the tackle. Guy having an All-American caliber season at defensive tackle. How about this guy, Samaje Perine, Big 12 second leading rusher after entering camp, really as the 4th running back in this Oklahoma offense. Opening drive, 3rd and 8. There's show pressure. And back off against a 4-man rush. Knight running out of time, and now running away and getting a few, but it's 4th down. Got 3 on the scramble and was stopped by K.J. Smith. So a 3 and out for Oklahoma to begin.
And that, Joe, in and of itself is huge. Coach Phil Bennett, the defensive coordinator for Baylor, told us we have to get 3 and outs to start the game. That is our only objective, because our offense is so good. We know if we can get them the ball quickly, we can jump out to a 7-0, 14-0 lead, and then the opponent has to play from behind, which is so tough.
Jed Barnett with a short punt into the wind that'll bounce just across midfield and go out at the Baylor 44-yard line. So the nation's top offense takes the field. Give us 3 things we need to know.
Well, Joe, everybody's talking about a completion percentage for Bryce Petty. Don't let that fool you. This guy is still throwing touchdowns, actually at a better rate than he was last year. He may be throwing to, you think, Antoine Goodley, Katie Cannon? No. He's throwing to a guy, Corey Coleman. The last 5 games has 7 touchdown catches. On the other side for Oklahoma, Zach Sanchez, this defensive back, has 5 interceptions, leads the Big 12. He's going to be a big key to stopping Baylor's offense.
Part of the #2 scoring defense in the conference, facing its biggest test yet. On 1st down, Petty's throw is too tall for Coleman. Guy that you just mentioned had 3 catches last week for a career-high 167 in the blowout win against Kansas. Petty pulls it off of the replay. Runs over a defender to midfield for 6. 3rd down and 4. You mentioned Petty's completion percentage down. First 4 games is at 65%. Last 4 games, as teams have started to bring more pressure, completion percentage under 50%.
You know what, Joe? The production is still there. He's still throwing touchdowns. They're still scoring points, and that's really all that matters to Art Briles.
Play action on 3rd down. His read was taken away, and he floats it out of bounds, 4th down. Tried to get the backers to bite and then throw the slant, but Oklahoma was ready. And Jordan Phillips forced the errant throw.
Well, Joe, great coverage by Zach Sanchez in the Oklahoma secondary, forcing Bryce to hold on to the ball longer than he wanted to. But I like the decision at the end. Instead of forcing the ball into coverage down the field, he threw it out of bounds. Now, there may be a grounding call that comes out of this, but I think it was a smart play as opposed to giving up a possible turnover.
Yeah, right as you said, there may be grounding. The flag came out about 15 seconds after the play.
In the area. Launch him down. 4th down.
Greg Burks, head referee of this Big 12 crew, confirms it. So it is a loss of down, still 4th down. Moves the ball back inside the 40. This is Spencer Roth, 4-year starter at punter. And Zach Sanchez will return punts with Sterling Shepard on the shelf today. Line drive kick, getting a boost from the wing. Sanchez from the 11 is hemmed in. Great coverage from the Baylor special teams. And these two high-powered offenses, both with 3 and outs to begin. Trevor Knight and his Oklahoma offense back to the field in a scoreless game after this. Baylor and Oklahoma first met back in 1901, not again until 1973. Oklahoma won the first 20 meetings before Baylor got its first win in the series with a last-second throw from Robert Griffin to Terrence Williams. Last game here in Norman was won by Oklahoma, as all 11 of them have been. The Bears rolling Oklahoma on a Thursday night last year, 41-12. Here we are with the 24th meeting between these two teams, and once again it's a big one. Number 12 Baylor and number 15 Oklahoma. After a 3 and out, Oklahoma's offense on the field for the second time. And Keith Ford in the game at running back, taking the fake with a boot from Knight. Turns the shoulders and throws the comeback wide of Deron Neal, second down. And again, Sterling Shepard not playing today with a groin injury. The conference's top receiver, 3rd in the country. You lose really their only big-time threat on the outside.
Yeah, Joe, this is huge for Oklahoma. I mean, after Sterling Shepard, you don't have a whole lot of production. You've got a lot of youth. A guy like Micaiah Quick, KJ Young. Coach Josh Heupel said those guys need to start playing well, and they need to start playing well quickly.
Straight drop back, and they throw the screen. Micaiah Quick, the true freshman, into space for a first down. Coming off his best game, 8 catches for 56 yards with Shepard out against Iowa State last week.
Well, I'll say that's playing well right there. Catching the screen, coming into the middle of the field. He did a nice job of staying behind his blockers and setting up the running path.
Bubble screen thrown behind him. That's a live ball. And a good job by Quick to fall on top of it. They lose 4-5 on first down. True freshman out of Fresno, California. One of the top recruits in California last year. A ton of potential. The guy they're by necessity now having to work in with Shepard out of the lineup. He's going to find his way into the lineup one way or another. And had in a limited role before last week, but really taking advantage of Shepard being out. Second down, 16. High snap pulled down. And Trevor Knight off of the pull read. Able to get across the 30. And Orion Stewart, Baylor's second leading tackler, has him after 7, 3rd and 9.
Joe, Trevor Knight did a really nice job of reading the unblocked defender right there. Number 11, Taylor Young, coming off the edge for Baylor. Trevor Knight sees it, fakes the ball to his running back, sees Taylor Young crash down, keeps it around the edge for a nice gain.
All kinds of time. It's almost intercepted. Colin Brent's had a shot at it, but couldn't pull it in, and it's 4th down. Boy, all day for Knight to throw.
Well, great protection by that big offensive line for Oklahoma, but Trevor Knight needs to see Colin Brent sitting right there in his throwing lane. Sometimes it's tough to see over those big guys. Tyrus Thomas 6'5", Darrell Williams 6'6" in front of him. You got to find your lane and deliver the ball. You have to see what the defenders are.
Second punt for Jed Barnett. He hit it only 28 yards his first time. This one a perfect spiral back to the 20. And a fair catch taken by Levi Norwood and a punt of 49 yards. Bryce Petty, reigning Big 12 Offensive Player of the Year, back to the field with the nation's top offense in a scoreless game after this. 7 national titles, 5 Heisman winners. Pretty cool trophy room here in Norman. Few of those Heisman Trophy winners back in town today. This top 15 matchup between Oklahoma and Baylor. Joe Davis, Joey Harrington, Chris Butt. Memorial Stadium, Owen Field. Picture perfect day for football. The Baylor's offense, with a 3 and out its first time, comes back out with a drive starting at the 20. Play action on first down. A double clutch and a low throw pulled in by Corey Coleman. His first catch, a first down to the 31.
Joe, interesting to see what Mike Stoops did there. He only rushed 3 defenders and dropped 8 into coverage. He told us yesterday, we got to show Bryce Petty everything. We got to rush 3, we got to rush 7. We have to keep him on his toes, and that time maybe throwing a little bit of a changeup.
Here's Shaq Linwood, the Big 12's leading rusher, going for 7 on first down. Ahmad Thomas with a tackle, and a guy that ran for 182 in the matchup last year.
Well, Joe, and watch for Baylor's tempo here. They like to get up to the line of scrimmage and go after big chunk plays like that.
Leading the country, running 89 plays a game. Coleman juggles, incomplete. 3rd down.
And Joe, that's the 2nd time we've seen Bryce Petty a little bit high out to his left to Corey Coleman. And neither time he was able to bring it in. Now Bryce has to bring that ball down, but Corey Coleman, who has been a fantastic receiver for Baylor over the last couple of weeks, needs to make that catch.
On 3rd and short, it's Linwood straight ahead into the teeth of the defense with enough for a first down. Jock Linwood, sophomore from Linden, Texas. Part of the top rushing offense in the Big 12 for the 3rd consecutive year. You think Baylor, you think high-flying spread offense, but they spread you out to run it. Play action on first down again, and a long throw to Antoine Goodley, who was limited to 7 yards on 2 catches last week, but you talk to the staff and they think he's ready to break out again.
Well, yeah, Antoine Goodley, you got to feel for this young man. A senior gets hurt during his first series of the season, and a consensus All-American last year. One of the best wide receivers in the country, has really struggled to regain his form this year.
Play action again, wide open again. Goodley with a first down inside the 30.
Did I say
Parker with a tackle?
Well, did I say struggle to regain form? I meant finds the seams perfectly and sits down right for Bryce Petty. That's the experience that he brings. He knows where to sit versus a zone. He knows how to separate versus man coverage. Just a smart wide receiver.
And a false start coming. Baylor, the nation's most penalized team.
Number 69, offense, 5-yard penalty, first down.
And the loss for the Bears at West Virginia. They set a Big 12 record, 18 penalties for 215 yards. They're better last week in that penalty category in the win against Kansas. 2nd straight season they've led the country in penalty yards. First down and 15. And a fumbled snap. Linwood tries to fall on it. Strikers there as well. And Linwood did get back on the ball. 2nd down.
Joe, sometimes when you run these option plays, you take your eyes off the ball just for a moment because you're looking for an unblocked defender. That time, Bryce Petty, a high snap, takes his eyes off the ball for just a second. Good thing Shaq Linwood was there to fall on it.
2nd and 17. Petty well protected to the sideline, and it's Goodley again. Make that Katie Cannon. Katie Cannon, the true freshman, with his first reception. And it'll be 3rd down and 4.
And how about Bryce Petty sitting in the pocket? He started all the way on the left, worked his way across the entire field to find Cannon on the right sideline. Nice patience in the pocket.
Linwood dancing his way for close to a first down. Dominique Alexander, leading tackler for Oklahoma, has his first stop, and it's 4th down and 1.
Well, Joe, don't be surprised to see Baylor get up and go here. They like to do this on 4th and short.
Evan Phillips slow getting out of the field, but the officials make sure Oklahoma has time to sub. Jordan Phillips is in. Out comes Ndulaway. And now a timeout taken by Baylor. They go for it as many times as anybody in the country. This will be the 27th 4th down attempt for the Bears if they do in fact go.
Joe, you may be wondering why Baylor didn't get up to the line of scrimmage and snap the ball. Well, by rule, when you substitute on offense, the referees must allow the defense to substitute as well. You see the refs sitting in there next to the center holding the ball. Bryce Petty's putting his hands up saying, why can't we go? A little bit of gamesmanship on Oklahoma's part by taking a long time to substitute. Nice job of recognizing the situation and really using what Baylor's strength, using it against them.
They come to the line, 27th 4th down attempt this season for the Bears. And a flag comes in from the back judge.
illegal substitution. Oklahoma, 12 men on the field.
Wow.
Staff was imminent. 5-yard penalty, first down.
Out of a timeout.
You can't have that. That is an inexcusable penalty, especially when it gives your opponent a first down in the red zone.
And especially when that opponent's the nation's best offense.
You can't give Baylor extra chances. You did a great job on the previous play, slowing down Baylor's tempo, using the substitution to your advantage, and then you gave them a free one. You can't do that.
So a fresh set of downs from the 12. First down and 10. Linwood straight ahead. Getting inside the 10. Alexander with a stop, and it's second down. Baylor in the red zone last week, Joey, 5 touchdowns and 10 trips. They got to be better than that. Wide snap pulled in. On the slant, it's broken up. Wanted Jay Lee, third down.
Joe, I'm a little bit surprised by the tempo or the lack of tempo by Baylor right now. I know you want to choose the right play, but they stood there for a long time looking to the sideline. There seemed to be a bit of indecision on the Baylor coaching staff as to which play they should call against this defense.
Pressure coming. Petty in trouble and sacked. Outside the 15-yard line. Oklahoma dials up the blitz and gets home with a sack for Dominique Alexander. Fourth down.
Joe, Mike Stoops told us that we're going to bring 8 and we're going to bring 3. We're going to bring it all. We're going to show it all to Bryce Petty. And that time, they simply got home. He had 2 routes breaking open across the middle of the end zone, but he simply didn't have the time to get it there. Nice job by Oklahoma dialing up a blitz to beat the protection of Baylor.
So the field goal team comes out. Chris Callahan to attempt it. What a stretch Callahan's going through. Started the season 1 for 6. He's hit 10 in a row since. From 34 with the win, pokes it through, and Baylor with the game's first points. So Oklahoma gets the sack on third down to force the field goal attempt, and in a 3-0 game, the Sooners offense back in the field when you come back. Fox Sports 1 College Football is presented by Kay Jewelers back here in Norman. Midway through this opening quarter and a 13-play drive capped by a Callahan field goal to start the scoring. There's Alex Ross. A couple of touchdowns this season on kick returns. No Oklahoma players ever taken 3 kick returns back for scores in one season.
Joe, you see what they're doing is they're stacking Alex Ross behind Deron Neal so that Baylor doesn't know where he's going to line up. Coach Art Briles told us, hey, if we kick it to Alex Ross, it was a mistake.
Right.
And so watch, they're going to split right before the kick so that Baylor doesn't know where he's going to be lining up.
He's the one in the back of Neal. And it helps Spencer Evans and Baylor that they've got the win right now. You saw in the opening kickoff, they're able to park it near the back of the end zone. And just like on the opening kickoff, the ball blows off of the tee. So they'll bring a player over to hold it. Baylor trying to boost that playoff resume. They're 9th out of the 1-loss teams coming into this weekend. Oklahoma with the 2 top 10 losses by a combined 5 points. Try to keep those Big 12 title hopes alive. You see the returner split at the last moment. And it will be Ross with a chance to bring it back. Alex Ross with some room across the 35 on a return of 33. Let's check it with Alan Massengale for a Lowe's Never Stop Improving game break.
Number 20, Georgia at Kentucky. Bulldogs coming off that bad loss to Florida last week. Georgia's Hudson Mason 15-yard touchdown pass to Chris Conley. Georgia now leading 21-0. Back to Joe and Joey in Norman.
All right, Alan, 3-0 game here. The Bears getting a field goal on their last drive. Oklahoma's offense which had one of the best yardage totals in program history last week, struggling to get going through 2 drives. The starting field position here from the 36. Knight with a pull read. Nearly doubled his yardage total on the ground last week with 146 against Iowa State.
He did it again. Ready, unblocked defender, and see, Baylor's not going to let Samaje Perine get the best of him. They're going to come down and they're going to tackle these running backs, force Trevor Knight to keep the ball out on the edge. And frankly, I'd rather have Trevor Knight running the football against me than Samaje Perine.
Yeah. Or Keith Ford or Alex Ross.
Maybe the best combination of young running backs in the country.
They bring quick in motion and go downhill to Keith Ford with his first carry since game 3, and the crowd knows it. He had 6 touchdowns in those 3 games and then suffered a fractured leg. It was a game time decision coming into this one. They liked the way that he was making cuts and warm-ups, and with his first touch since the opening month. They get to him on first down. Knight to the outside. Deron Neal, second leading receiver, having a career year for the Sooners. Into Baylor territory for the first time.
Well, just a nice little hitch route on the outside by Deron Neal. Quick play action by Trevor Knight in the backfield to hold the linebackers and allow him the space to throw the ball outside.
Ford again into the arms of Taylor Young to the 41-yard line. It's a guy that was the #1 running back in the depth chart entering the fall. Boy, of the guys in his stead picked it up in Perine and Ross. And move him into the slot. Quads into the wide side. Knight off his back foot, lobbing one down the sideline, incomplete. Wanted quick, just out of his reach, and it's second down.
Joe, and I'm not sure that Micaiah Quick didn't get held coming up the sideline here. Watch, he's going to be on the inside of the slot here, right out to the sideline, then take it up. I'm not sure you couldn't call a penalty on that. Colin Brandt's getting his hands on Micaiah Quick. Maybe a little bit too much contact for me.
You saw the official's hat was off. It was going to be illegal touching anyways, because he'd gone out of bounds without being forced out. Knight scrambling away from the blitz with his eyes downfield. Will take off with a first down and more. Hurdles his way inside the 25 and brings this crowd to life with a first down.
Joe, a tremendous recognition of coverage by Trevor Knight. They were playing man coverage in the secondary, which meant all the DB's backs were turned to Trevor Knight. They couldn't see him running. So as soon as he broke contained by the defensive ends, he had nothing but green grass. Great read by Trevor Knight.
First down from the 23. Perine, big hole, but he got tripped up. Boy, Taylor Young saved the touchdown, just barely getting a piece of the freshman.
And that is not a play that you think Samaje Perine is going to go down on. A 243-pound bowling ball in there generally does not get tripped up by little finger tackles like that.
Still able to get 6. Second down and 4. Perine again makes a cut in the hole with a first down. Up to the 10, first down and goal for Oklahoma.
And Joe, Samaje Perine may be 243 pounds, but this guy moves laterally like he's a 190-pound back. Watch him, he's gonna come up, run right into the teeth of the defense, slide to the side, and get upfield for a big game. You don't see big running backs like that who can move their feet laterally.
They're showing edge pressure on first down and goal. Get the call from the sideline. Knight to throw on the slant. Deron Neal has it broken up by Ryan Reed. And it'll be second down. Oklahoma in the red zone. Best in the Big 12 as far as touchdown percentage. Getting touchdowns in about 3/4 of their trips into the red zone. And an injured player for the Bears, it's Javonte McGee. He plays both defensive tackle and defensive end. They've already lost Jamal Palmer at defensive end this year.
Well, Joe, that's going to be huge if Javonte McGee can't come into the ball game. or come back into the ball game. Coach Phil Bennett, defensive coordinator for Baylor, told us we already lost Jamal Palmer, and because of that, we lost our rotation. When you play in such a high-tempo offense, your defense is on the field for a long period of time. They're up in there upwards of 80, 90, even 100 plays. You need to have fresh D linemen, and if Javonte McGee can't come back, that rotation is going to be hampered.
2nd and goal. Knight keeps it. Hager pushes him out after a short gain. 3rd down.
Well, Joe, you saw the adjustment right there by Baylor. They're going to crash that defensive end or outside linebacker right. He's going to take the running back. Hager's now going to come around and take Trevor Knight. You saw Trevor Knight break a couple big runs earlier in the game. Now Baylor is adjusted and is accounting for Trevor as a runner. Nice job of adjusting what they're doing by Coach Phil Bennett.
On 3rd down and goal, they bring Ford in and motion him out. Knight looks his way. Throw in the corner. Has Cook. Touchdown, Oklahoma. It's Micaiah Cook for 8 yards. The freshman's first career score has Oklahoma in front.
Well, Joe, Josh Heupel told us these young receivers are going to have to come up big in the absence of Sterling Shepard. A ball that was not perfectly thrown, but high enough to give his receiver a chance. Way to go up and make a high catch by young receiver Micaiah Quick, a 6-foot receiver going up and making the catch of a 6'4" guy.
Michael Honeycutt, last time he attempted one into these uprights, he missed it wide in that 1-point loss against Kansas State. Trevor Knight bringing this crowd alive, climbing the ladder for a 1st down in the hurdle, and then on 3rd and goal, finding Cook for the touchdown and a 7-3 lead for number 15. Oklahoma in front for the first time on the Knight touchdown throw to Quick. It was early start time. We see some early start times. We get to travel around, see some awesome places. A lot of places for the noon Eastern games. You worry about what the crowd's like to begin, but this place was loaded up with more than 80,000 when we kicked.
Does that surprise you, though? What, 96 straight sellouts here in Norman? Bob Stoops has this program rolling, and the fans absolutely love their football here.
Yeah, that 96 consecutive games with a sellout corresponds with the beginning of the Stoops era back in 1999. They're 89-6 in the stadium. Includes 11-0 against Baylor. That one drops inside the 5, and it's picked up by Norwood, who gets hit shy of the 15 and dropped. Gastelum, Caleb Gastelum with the tackle on special teams. What a huge day in college football this is, with 6 games between ranked opponents. This one starts it off. Notre Dame and Arizona State coming up at 3:30. Huge one on Fox tonight between Kansas State and TCU. Of course, the big one in the SEC, Alabama, LSU, and a big one in the Big Ten as well, with Ohio State and Michigan State. Wrap it up with the top 25 matchup in the Pac-12, Oregon and Utah. And we started all off with number 12 Baylor and number 15 Oklahoma midway through this first quarter. There's start the drive from the 15, and they hand it off to Devin Chafin, who's got no room. Dominique Alexander plugs the hole. 2nd down.
Joe, this Oklahoma defense is feeding off the crowd right now. You see big Jordan Phillips there getting this crowd hyped, raising his hands. They need a leader. They need some bravado. This crowd can help bring it.
Alexander with another stop there. Leading tackler for this defense. Baylor with a tempo, right back on the ball, and another wide snap pulled down. Long throw to Corey Coleman is caught for a 1st down.
And Joe, you think about the wind and quarterbacks, you think about the wind and kickers, you rarely think about the wind and shotgun snaps. That's the 2nd time we've seen the ball drift to the right for Bryce Petty. He's had to make an adjustment twice now. The first one was a fumble deep in the red zone.
Toss play to Chafin. Couple of blockers in front. Uses his speed to get to the edge for 5 yards. Devin Chafin, career best 112 yards last week.
Joe, watch the ball on the snap here. It's going to sail high to his right.
Ooh, I don't know if that had anything to do with the wind, though.
Yeah, you know.
I see what you're saying.
But it did happen on the previous drive, down in the red zone. Right. The fumble for Bryce Petty. It's hitting him high right, and you got to think the wind has something to do with it.
Chafin again. That time the edge was sealed. And dropped for no gain. Ahmad Thomas in there with Matt Diamond, and it's 3rd down. Third down defense has been an issue for Oklahoma. Can they get a stop on 3rd and 6? Sooners bring 5. Petty, wide side of the field, pulled in by Goodley, or Cannon for a 1st down. But then a flag comes out.
Joe, you're going to get some sort of offensive pass interference, I believe, here. Antoine Goodley came in, and it looked like he almost got a block on the guy who was covering K.D. Cannon.
Greg Burks talking it over as things get a little bit chippy.
Pass interference, number 5, offense. 15-yard penalty. 4th down.
See more than a few of those called this year in important moments.
Well, Joe, against man coverage, what you want to do is you want to run crossing routes so the defenders have to run into each other. That time, Antoine Goodley, well, he gives it a good little effort, try and fake it, but he was really blocking to free up K.D. Cannon on the out route there. You need to sell it a little bit better if you're gonna get away with it.
Last time a team led the country in penalties as far as most penalties in back-to-back seasons back in the late 90s when Cal did it. Baylor's in danger of doing it this year. 3rd down and 21 instead of a 3rd down conversion. And a timeout taken by the Bears.
Timeout. Baylor. 30 seconds timeout.
Already the 2nd one used by Art Briles. Back to Norman in 30 seconds. Art Briles forced to use his 2nd timeout already. This crowd making noise in front of a 3rd down and 21. All the success that he's had in his time at Baylor. But he's never won a top 25 road game. And in fact, Baylor has not won a top 25 true road game since 1991.
And Joe, frankly, I think that's part of the holdup of people putting Baylor higher in the rankings. They're relying too much on history, what's happened in the past. But this Baylor program is moving forward. And frankly, right now, they are one of the best teams in the country.
On 3rd down, Oklahoma drops 8 into coverage. Petty running out of time. Extending the play with his eyes downfield. Dangerous throws, incomplete. Jarred out of the hands of Fuller, and it's 4th down.
Joe, it looked like a dangerous ball, but Clay Fuller had all sorts of room there in the middle of the field. Missed a lot of time to start the season, but he needs to make that catch, and it would have been a huge 3rd down conversion for Baylor and really taking this crowd out of the ballgame.
And instead, Oklahoma's in position to get really good field position here. And using the win, the first punt from Spencer Roth went 51 yards. This one's off the side of his foot. Sanchez has nobody in front of him, but will let it bounce and roll up to the 46-yard line. Oklahoma scored a touchdown on its last drive. And now the Sooners to take the ball with great field position. Now tonight, the UFC returns to Fox Sports 1 with an epic night of fights from Brazil, including a light heavyweight showdown between 9th-ranked Shogun Rua, 10th-ranked Ovin St. Preux. UFC Fight Night tonight, 10:30 Eastern. On Fox Sports 1, streaming live on Fox Sports Go. Another matchup between ranked opponents on a day full of it. 7-3 Oklahoma in front. This offense back out there. 4th highest yardage total in program history last week against Iowa State. But that's Iowa State. This is Baylor, one of the conference's best defenses. This drive begins with Ford straight up the gut. Inside the 30 with a 1st down on a run of 20.
Joe, what having Keith Ford back in the lineup allows you to do is just get a roll of backs. Keith Ford, Samaje Perine, Alex Rocks. You keep them all fresh and you keep Baylor on their heels.
And it's Ford again, cut down by Taylor Young. Solid gain on first down for the sophomore from Texas, who's been out for several games with a leg injury. Had 6 touchdowns in the first 3 games before he was hurt.
That's okay.
Not bad, right? They didn't have to rush him back because Pirine and Ross have been so good. On 2nd and 5. Knight throwing the corner out. It's pulled in inside the 10. Deron Neal setting up first down and goal for the Sooners.
And Joe, Trevor Knight, who's received so much criticism for making a couple poor throws this year, delivers a strike to the outside on a corner route. He could not have put that ball in a better spot for Deron Neal. Fantastic recognition of coverage and great delivery of the ball.
That's Terrell Burt. The unsung hero of this defense, only returning starter in the secondary of the Bears defense. Slow to get up.
You don't want to speculate, Joe, but you hope it's just Terrell Burt getting the wind knocked out of him there, landing on top of Deron Neal as he came down.
Phil Bennett couldn't speak any more highly of this guy who had off-season shoulder surgery, keep in mind. He played all of last season with a shoulder injury.
Yeah, Joe, he called him the unspoken hero of this defense. Guy who makes all the secondary calls. You know, Baylor's secondary really gets no love. The offense gets all the publicity. The run defense right now is what's kind of creeping up on people, but it's the secondary play that absolutely gets ignored. Terrell Burt, really the glue of that young secondary.
He comes off with the ball inside the 10. Oklahoma trying to make it touchdowns on back-to-back drives. It's replaced by Alfred Pullum, a redshirt freshman. Back end. On first down. Off play action. Overthrown. Had Blake Bell in the end zone, who had 2 catches last week, both for touchdowns, including on that same play right there.
Oh, Joe, I've been there before. Trevor Knight wants that ball back. It's almost like it's so wide open, you just say, don't miss it, and consequently, you just kind of short arm one out there. Just step back, take a deep breath, deliver the ball. You've made that throw 100 times. You can see it right there. He wants it back.
2nd down and goal. Ford. Now it's pulled and it's Knight. Stopped by Hager. 3rd down.
Joe, don't be surprised if you see Coach Phil Bennett dial up a big blitz here on 3rd down. He likes to bring pressure in the red zone against TCU and Trevon Boykin, another running quarterback here in the Big 12. Every single time they got into the red zone, he was bringing the house. Don't be surprised to see that against Trevor Knight right now.
Burt back in the game, and there they are, Joey, showing blitz. On 3rd down and goal, pressure picked up into the end zone. It's caught. Touchdown, Oklahoma. This time it's Neal again on 3rd and goal.
Joe, watch Keith Ford come across and make the key block here to give Trevor Knight the time to throw this football. Everybody sees what the result is, a touchdown pass, but you don't ever recognize the little details that help it happen. Keith Ford made that play happen.
And so is Sterling Shepard not playing with a groin injury. Touchdowns from Micaiah Quick and Deron Neal. It's one of the questions we had off of the top. Who would step up in Shepard's place? He's the only receiver that entered the season for Oklahoma with a touchdown in his career. He counts for just under half of the receiving yards on the season. Honeycutt's extra point is good. Couple of touchdowns on 3rd and goal from Knight. And the Sooners in front of the Bears 14-3. Back in 30 seconds. Joey, Trevor Knight missed on that play action pass with Bell wide open for the second drive in a row. On 3rd and goal, he's got a touchdown. Well,
again, the guys in front, Tyrus Thomas, Darrell Williams, the NFL prospect there at right tackle, Keith Ford coming across and making a big block. Trevor Knight knows that the guys around him can make plays, and all he has to do, he's got the talent. He's got it. He's just got to settle down and make those throws, and that time he delivered a strike for a touchdown.
Chafin back to return this one, which will be kicked into the wind by Nick Hodgson. He leads the country in touchbacks. It'll be hard to drive one into that wing. There's Chafin from the 10. And Baylor will begin at the 25-yard line. Bryce Petty, following that blowout win against Kansas last week, had one thing on his mind.
Bryce, what are some of the positives that you take out of this game? You got to win. Ready for OU? Yep, just ready for OU. No, just ready for OU. Not frustrated, just ready for OU. Are you ready for OU? You are ready for OU? Yep.
I think the remarkable part about it is that is so uncharacteristic of him.
Such a wonderful young man who's always so willing to give a great answer, but that speaks to his focus. He wants to win this Big 12 championship, and he knows it's going to go through Norman.
Somebody asked Bob Stoops about it this week. He said, well, we're ready for Baylor. Off play action and a miscommunication. We've seen this much more often over the last few weeks as teams have started to pressure Baylor more.
Well, Joe, I think there's a lot of things that go into it. One, teams are bringing pressure, so you have to think on your feet. But two, they have had a lot of receivers that were injured to start the season. Guys who really missed the first 3 games, Antoine Goodley, Clay Fuller. These guys have been, Corey Coleman, they've been out of the lineup, and you need that time to work on that.
Shock Linwood gets a couple. And it'll be 3rd down and long for this Bears offense. Struggling to get it kicked into gear. They're going to let that first quarter clock wind down and think about this 3rd down call, which will begin quarter number 2. Oklahoma, 2 losses this season against top 10 teams, looking to keep their Big 12 title hopes alive. Baylor needs a resume-boosting win with their sights set on the playoffs still with only 1 loss. 14-3 Sooners after a quarter. Back to Norman after this. Fox Sports 1 College Football is presented by Kay Jewelers. Oklahoma with a couple of 3rd down and goal touchdown passes in that first quarter and a 14-3 lead over Baylor, which begins this second quarter with a 3rd down. Only 1 for 4 on 3rd down today. Looking at 3rd and 7 here. Petty throwing the hitch for Coleman. He's got a 1st down across the 35, working against Julian Wilson to convert on 3rd.
Well, Joe, we talked about Keith Ford picking up the blitz for Oklahoma. That time, Shock Linwood coming across the formation and picking up the edge pressure for Baylor, allowing Bryce Petty the time to throw it outside.
Here comes Linwood, running hard across the 40. Petty throwing the hitch again. This time Goodley is short of the 1st down. Sanchez was there first. Then Stryker rallied to help and set up 3rd down and 2. Linwood makes a cut in the hole. He's close, but it looks like he's spotted just short. And so it'll be 4th down for the Bears.
I feel like a broken record saying it, Joe, but don't be surprised if Baylor goes for it on 4th down. This is not a situation where most coaches have the guts to do it, but Art Briles is one of those guys who will pull the trigger and say, you know what, I trust my offensive line, I trust my quarterback to make the right decision, and I think we can pick up a half a yard.
They go out of the gun on 4th down and less than 1. Linwood straight ahead for a 1st down. Running over the left side of the line with Drango, Muir, and Fuller. Striker with a stop as Baylor converts.
Joe, you're seeing so many more coaches now make the decision to go for it on 4th and short. The percentages actually say that it's a decision you should make, but so many people are scared to pull the trigger because if you don't get it, you give Oklahoma the ball right back.
Petty taking a shot into coverage for Cannon with a flag coming out. And Quentin Hayes is going to get called for pass interference, trying to defend the freshman. As many good receivers as this Baylor team has, it's a true freshman in Cannon that leads them in receiving. He's trying to run by a senior, and Hayes there.
There is no foul.
Wow. So they pick it up, and it's 2nd and 10.
Well, Joe, Coach Mike Stoops told us we need to get more production from our safeties in the pass game. And you know what? This is not a matchup that you want if you're an Oklahoma coach. Quentin Hayes, yes, he's a senior, but Katie Cannon is one of the fastest receivers in all of college football. Hey, I like the pickup. I like the no call. Good job by Quentin Hayes on a very tough receiver.
Coleman's left wide open, and with speed for a first down inside the 35. Wilson was playing corner and bailed, and Petty hit him in a hurry.
Those are the type of miscommunications you can't afford to have. You cannot make those mistakes against Baylor because they will hurt you. They will take that play and take it to the house and put 7 on the board in a blink.
Petty throwing for the end zone. It's Coleman for the Baylor touchdown.
And there's the blink.
From 33 yards, beating Quentin Hayes. The Bears back within a score.
Joe, Baylor is better than anybody in the country of taking advantage of momentum and taking shots down the field. You can't let them get in a rhythm because they'll go deep on anybody. They'll go deep on anybody at any time, and if you allow them to chunk away and get your defense thinking that they got to play tight to the line of scrimmage, they're going to run right by you just like they did. Nice throw, nice catch by Corey Coleman.
Petty's 2nd in the country in yards off play action. Collected a few more there. Callahan on for the extra point. And it got blocked partially. Somehow ducked its way through. Corey Coleman with another touchdown reception. Now a touchdown in 6 consecutive games since coming back from injury. Bryce Petty starting to settle in a 4-point game.
Introducing new Wrangler Advanced Comfort Jeans. The most comfortable jeans you'll ever wear. Guaranteed.
How do we do it? We make Wrangler Advanced Comfort with 4-way flex technology that bends the way that you do, moves the way you move. And the reinforced fibers are 20% stronger than traditional denim. New Wrangler Advanced Comfort Jeans. Guaranteed to wear longer and feel better than any jeans you've ever worn.
Wrangler. Real, comfortable jeans.
Back at the University of Oklahoma, founded back in 1890, 1 year after Norman was established as a town. A beautiful day for football. Really perfect football weather. If you can get rid of the wind a little bit, with the temperature in the high 50s.
You would want to get rid of the wind.
Mr. Strong-Arm Joey Harrington over here.
It's the fall. It's football weather. This is perfect. Get a little breeze.
The breeze hasn't necessarily slowed the passing games. 3 touchdowns in this game, all coming through the air. Now watch out here as Evans has to kick into the wind with Ross waiting back. They chip it away from him, so it'll be Deron Neal. Instead of fair catch taken by one of the up men at the 25. It's Checker with Allen for a game break.
Number 24, Georgia Tech at NC State. NC State quarterback Jacoby Brissett scrambles up the middle, flips into the end zone for a 15-yard touchdown. Extra point no good. Wolfpack now lead 13-7. Back to Joe and Joey and Norman.
Don't think he got quite as high up in the air as Knight did on his hurdle a couple of possessions ago.
I don't think anybody can.
My goodness.
We didn't give that enough credit. That was a high jump worthy hurdle right there. Maybe Edwin Moses.
Oklahoma touchdowns on back-to-back drives, beginning this one from its own 25. It's Pirine. Tripped up. Let's check in with Chris Button.
Joe, Baylor athletic training staff still working on defensive end Javonte McGee. He's dealing with a stinger. However, their team doctor told me that he will be okay and he will be back for the rest of this game. That's good news for Baylor, Chris. Thanks. We talked about the lack of depth up front with Jamal Palmer already going out with a knee injury a few weeks ago. That's hurt their rotation. As they play so many up-tempo teams, the depth up front so important on defense. All 11 men within 5 yards of the line of scrimmage for 2nd down and 8. Knight throwing a speed out. Quick juggles and catches and makes Burt miss for a 1st down.
Joe, Coach Bennett loves to bring pressure in any situation. That time, 8 guys up by the line of scrimmage, brings them all. Trevor Knight saw it, got it out to his receiver quickly in the flat. Nice recognition of what Baylor was doing and knowing where to attack him.
So Oklahoma, after 3 and outs on its first 2 possessions, moving the football well over the last few drives. And a 1st down run for Pirine with a flag flying in. Stop made by Andrew Billings, no gain.
Illegal formation, offense, 4 in the backfield, 5-yard penalty, 1st down.
So that'll move them back 5. 1st down, 15 now for the Sooners. Julian Wilson walking off. Starting corner for Oklahoma, walking off with his hand being braced by one of the athletic trainers. Dealing with one of the nation's top offenses in Baylor. Can run great receiver after great receiver at you. On a quarterback draw, it's gobbled up, and Knight dropped in the backfield by Blackshear, part of this talented defensive line for the Bears.
One of the unsung heroes on this Baylor defense, Bo Blackshear, a junior, has really been here through the transformation of this defense. Just pushes his way into the backfield and makes a nice solo tackle. Just overpowering the offensive line for Oklahoma. Nice play.
Overpowering one of the nation's biggest offensive lines. Average 320 pounds per man up front. 2nd and long. Twist gets picked up. Knight gets picked off. It's Bryce Hager. Inside the 10. Stays on his feet and dives. They spot him down at the 1. Bryce Hager with his first career interception. Returned 35 yards to set up 1st and goal.
Joe, a big play made by a big-time senior. We saw it earlier in the ball game. Trevor Knight throwing a ball across the middle. He didn't see the defender. Colin Brents wasn't able to make the interception that time. Bryce Hager couldn't help but catch it. It hit him right square in the face mask. Nice play by the Baylor defense, setting up the offense for a big play on the road.
They are going to review this to see if he did indeed get in. The official was not in line with the pylon to see, so really the best he could do was guess from where he was. So they will take a look. Bryce Hager, 2-time All Big 12 performer, had a groin injury last year that cut the end of the season short for him. Missed the last 4 games, but back in a big way for this defense.
And Joe, I'm not sure that Bryce doesn't. Well, he lays on the top. That's what I was going to say. Laying on top of the Oklahoma player there. Stretches out with his right arm. Does his left elbow hit? There.
But again, the call on the field is that he's down inside the 1. You need indisputable video evidence to overturn it. Let's check in with Mike Pereira. Mike, what do you see on this one?
Well, I'll tell you, I think the ruling on the field has to stand. Joey pointed out perfectly, the elbow hits the ground, and it's before the ball breaks the plane. And even though the ball did come loose, it was after the elbow came down. So I don't think there's anything they have here that they can overturn it.
The ruling on the field stands. 1st down, Baylor.
We appreciate it, Mike, and you're exactly right. Call does stand.
Mike's always right.
Yeah, rare that he gets one wrong. Either way, first down and goal for the Bears, and Trevor Knight, who's thrown pick sixes in each of the 2 losses for Oklahoma this year, nearly throws one there. First down and goal for the Bears with a chance to jump back in front. Extra lineman in the game, number 60, McGowan. Petty turns and gives to Chafin for the Baylor touchdown. Promptly taking advantage of the takeaway, and the Bears jump back in front.
Joe, you mentioned it, number 60, Laquan McGowan. They used him last week as a fullback. And look, he's not your average fullback. They list him at 390 pounds, but this guy is a biscuit over 400. He clears the path going into the end zone for Devin Chafin. Great use of your personnel. Nice block by McGowan, helping his running back into the end zone.
So Chafin has the Bears back in front with a couple of quick touchdowns. Callahan, prettier this time. Last time he barely snuck it over the crossbar. Bryce Hager comes up with the interception, sets him up with first and goal inside the 1, and one play later, it's Chafin plunging into the end zone for the Baylor lead. Well, if you can't make it to the game, you can home gate right from your couch with ballpark patties. So American, you can taste it. I hope they're going to cook that dish there on the bottom a little bit longer. It doesn't look done yet.
Oh, for crying out loud. You would say that. Yeah. Medium rare, that's how you cook meat.
Well, that was rarer than that. Bryce Hager's interception returned inside the 1, setting up Devin Chafin's 1-yard touchdown run. 6th time this season Baylor has scored on the first play of a possession. None easier than that one after the Knight pick. And again, Evans will kick it into the wind. They'll try to keep it away from Alex Ross, who's taken 2 back for touchdowns this season. They chip it away, and it falls inside the 30 and bounces into the hands of Neal. It's up to the 32-yard line. We look at our stat comparison brought to you by the Lincoln Wish List Sales Event. This Oklahoma offense, second best rushing offense in the conference. They ran for more than 500 yards last week against this Baylor defense now, which leads the conference in rush D. So far today, Oklahoma 76 yards on the ground on 16 attempts.
Yeah, you'd never think that Baylor was the best rush defense in the Big 12. I mean, so much publicity goes to the offense, and Bryce Petty and Antoine Goodley and Shock Linwood. But guys like Sean Oakman, Andrew Billings, Bryce Hager have done a fantastic job for Baylor this season, shutting down opponents' rushing attacks.
See how Knight bounces back after the pick. They swing it to Ford, who gets a block. And that Baylor defense rallies after a short gain. Trevor Knight, the Big 12 Player of the Week after his 6 touchdowns last week. Remember, he's a Sugar Bowl MVP, and that created this giant height machine around not just Knight, but this entire Baylor team. You wonder if it was a bit unfair, the amount of pressure that was put on him, largely because of what he did in that one game. On 2nd and 9. Off play action, well protected, taking a shot, and has Quick. Micaiah Quick inside the 15. Ball comes out after the play on a gain of 55 yards.
Well, Joe, you mentioned how Trevor Knight would respond from the interception. I love what Josh Heupel said about playing quarterback. He said, it's not about being perfect. It's about responding from your mistakes. And that time, Trevor Knight threw an interception on the previous possession, comes back and delivers a strike for a big gain for Oklahoma. Nice job by the young quarterback managing the situation and stepping back in and throwing a perfect ball for Oklahoma.
And Josh Heupel also told us while those expectations might have been a bit unfair, it's reality when you're the quarterback at Oklahoma. First down from the 13. It's Ford inside the 10 with a flag coming in. Flag comes in the area of holding.
Holding, number 79 offense, 10-yard penalty, first down.
Well, Joe, I want to go back. Trevor Knight has done a fantastic job for Oklahoma, period, including the interceptions at Kansas State and TCU. You make mistakes. He's a young player. Look, the country has gotten so used to freshmen and sophomores like Johnny Manziel and Jameis Winston coming in and lighting the world on fire. There's a development that takes place for a quarterback, and I love what Trevor Knight has been doing. Yes, he's made some mistakes, but he's learning from those mistakes, and that's what being a good quarterback is about.
Salt McKay Quick already got a career high in yards. After the penalty, first down and long, they faked a Ford, trying to open it up deep. Baylor's defense was ready. And they're ready for the scramble with big Sean Oakman chasing down Knight after a short gain. First time Oakman has made a tackle in this game.
And Joe, you see Trevor Knight getting up a little bit slowly there. Remember, a couple weeks ago against Kansas State, went out of the ball game with a left shoulder injury. That doesn't go away. Just because there's another game the next week doesn't mean your shoulder automatically feels great. Trevor Knight is going to be dealing with that for the entirety of the season, and I knit it out and playing tough for his team.
Second down and long for the Sooners. Knight throwing the fade, wants Neal, and threw it out of bounds. Third down. Now, I know you dealt with a shoulder injury to your non-throwing shoulder while you were playing. How much does that affect you as a quarterback? Obviously not your throwing shoulder, but how much does it affect you?
Well, you use your entire body to throw the football. I mean, you don't just stand there and use your right arm to throw. You use your left arm to drive. You use your hips to push off. Your feet, to give yourself a good base. Your entire body goes into your throwing motion, so it absolutely affects you when you throw the ball.
First injured it in the Bedlam game last year, then re-injured against Kansas State a couple of weeks ago. Hard count, got Billings to jump into the neutral zone. This will get him 5 and make it a more manageable third down, assuming Billings wasn't drawn off.
Offside. Defense number 75 with contact. 5-yard penalty. Third down.
Joe, I heard it on the audio. I'm not sure if you could hear it at home, but Trevor Knight used a hard count there. You can hear him trying to draw that defense offsides. Those are the things the quarterbacks learn how to do as you go on. That's a veteran move right there, trying to get back yardage after a penalty. Nice job.
So third down from the 15. Knight well protected. Time to scan the field. Coverage downfield solid, so he scrambles to extend the play and throws one to the spot. Incomplete. Ryan Reed with the coverage on Neal, who had it right at the sticks. But they say that he was out of bounds, and it's fourth down.
Joe, nice job of Trevor Knight extending the play and keeping your eyes downfield, but also credit the Baylor secondary for the length of coverage. He sat back there for 5, 6, 7 seconds. Oh, and did he get a foot in?
It looked like it, but did he lose the ball at the end? Looks like he may have lost the ball.
Previous play is under further review.
So we're going to get a few more looks at this. I think he got a foot down, but did he complete the process?
Well, you had the key right there, Joe. Foot comes down. Let's look for it. 1 right there. It looks like he got that back foot down. But you got to complete the process, like you said. Maintain possession of the ball through contact with the ground.
And they're seeing the replay on the video board right now. Neal just saw himself get a foot down and then turned around before the ball popped out on the video board. And they're pausing it on the video board with his foot down. And then they don't have a great view, at least in the stadium, with the ball popping out on the video board. So that's why you're hearing a positive reaction from this Oklahoma crowd. Well, Mike, are we thinking along the right lines here as we're bringing Mike Pereira in L.A.?
Yeah, I think you are. I think what they're looking at was he completed the catch before he was contacted and driven to the ground. But to me, like you say, he was hit actually before, and it was all part of the process. And
after further review, The pass was not controlled to the ground, therefore the ruling on the field is confirmed. Incomplete pass.
You know, it's amazing, guys, how the word process has come into the football game, huh? Never used to be years ago, but now it's all a part of the process, and that process is all the way through the ground.
All right, Mike, so that is the right call. It was called correctly on the field. So it means on Michael Honeycutt for a field goal from third. All-time leader in the Big 12 was 72 made field goals. High snap, pulled down, he pushed it wide. And Michael Honeycutt, who was the scapegoat in the loss against Kansas State, missing from 32, missing from 19, getting an extra point block. Misses that one with a wind to his back, and it remains a 3-point lead for the Bears in this top 15 matchup in Norman. Back in a moment. Fox Sports 1 College Football is presented by K Jewelers. 17-14. Baylor remains in front after Michael Honeycutt misses a short-range field goal.
Well, Joe, you mentioned earlier about how Honeycutt received a lot of criticism after that Kansas State game. Look, I'm going to say it right now. He doesn't deserve it. You know, if you're going to criticize somebody, criticize the offense for not scoring inside the 2-yard line. Criticize the defense for giving up 31 points. Criticize the protection unit for allowing the PAT to get blocked previously. Yes, he missed a kick, and he owns that. But he is not the scapegoat. He is not the guy who deserves all the blame. And unfortunately, it has affected his confidence going forward.
Baylor starts his drive with a solid run from Shock Linwood. Bears try to take advantage after that missed field goal. Oklahoma led this game 14-3. Back-to-back touchdowns for the Bears, the second of which came after a Trevor Knight interception. As the Bears back in front. Linwood spins off contact and gets a couple. It'll be third down and short. Dominique Alexander there with Chuka and Dulaway.
Joe, you hear this crowd starting to get into it for Oklahoma here. They're looking to build on something here. They need some help.
Outside they go. And get a first down. Antoine Goodley on his third catch of the day. Stephen Parker with the tackle as the Bears convert.
Joe, if this crowd doesn't start to get into it and help the Oklahoma defense, you risk Baylor just starting to chunk away and build the momentum. Once they get momentum, they are tough to stop. Oklahoma needs to come up with a big stop here right now.
And once again, Oklahoma taking its time substituting, trying to slow the Bears down. On first down, outside again. Goodley again, getting a few on first down.
Well, that's a run play. I mean, that's essentially how the Baylor offense views those little quick screens as a 3 or 4 yard run play.
Petty with a deep drop to let the deep route develop. And incomplete with no flag yet. I think they're going to say the ball was uncatchable as Sanchez pulled Goodley down. Was it uncatchable because he got pulled down, though?
I think they're going to call incidental contact, that their feet just got tangled up as he's running the route here. Watch. Goodley and Sanchez on the outside.
Yeah.
You might be able to call a little bit of a hold with the right hand, but it's their feet that do get...
Empty set on 3rd and 7. Only a 3-man rush. So Petty with time, but it's knocked down. And Dulaway, the team captain, batted it down and sets up 4th down.
Well, and that's exactly what Oklahoma needed. You missed a field goal. The crowd falls out of it. Baylor's starting to get some rhythm going. You need a big play. Chuka and Dulaway coming up and knocking the ball down on what was going to be a sure first down as Bryce Petty had his receiver wide open. Nice play by the Oklahoma defense.
And like you said, that's a big stop for the Sooners D after the missed field goal from Honeycutt. So Sanchez back to return this punt from Spencer Roth, which will come into the wind. Nearly blocked. Contact and a flag. A flag just came out. It was contact, and the flag came out.
Joe, I think this is only going to be a 5-yard penalty, though. By the looks of it, it's not going to be enough. Oh!
Roughing the kicker, number 80, defense, 15-yard penalty, first down.
Jordan Phillips gets called for the roughing that extends this drive.
Joe, in at first glance, I did not think this was a roughing penalty. I thought they were going to call him for running into the kicker.
The key is that he got a hold of the plant leg. Now, if he gets the kicking leg, typically you're going to get running into the kicker. But he gets the plant leg, which is traditionally going to be roughing the kicker, and that's what's called to extend this Baylor drive. They announced it incorrectly. It wasn't Phillips. It was 90, Matt Diamond. So instead of a big stop for the Sooners defense, they're back out there with Baylor looking at first down at midfield. Into the short side, Coleman. Great strength to power his way for a first down.
Joe, earmark that. Remember that if you're watching this ball game. That is going to be a huge play in this football game as Baylor is now just back out and rolling again.
Here comes Chafin, unable to find a seam. Matthew Romar was there with Jordan Evans, and it's second down.
Let's go back to Honeycutt and people blaming him for that miss against Kansas State at the end. This is a perfect example. There are plenty of plays throughout the course of a game that set up what happens at the end, and all of them play equal importance.
Sooners bring pressure. It's picked up, so Petty with time to take a shot out in front of Cannon. Third down. Good coverage from the true freshman Jordan Thomas on another true freshman in Cannon.
Well, you see a lot of teams, when opposing defenses bring pressure, they throw quick slants, they throw quick hitches to get the ball out of the quarterback's hands. Not Baylor. They go deep. They say, if you're going to come after me, I'm going to come after you. And Baylor's going to do that all day when Oklahoma brings pressure.
So another third down for Baylor. Still not yet in field goal range, especially going into the wind. Play clock winds down to 5. Just get it off and throw the slant. It's Coleman, but he's short. Ahmad Thomas was all over him. This is a tricky spot because it'd be a 50-yarder from here into the wind. The offense stays out there as they so often do for Art Briles. 4th down and 4 for the Bears. Sooners bringing heat. Petty throw to the outside for Jay Lee and a first down. Only 4 catches over the last 5 games for a guy that was so big early on with the injuries at receiver for Baylor.
Joe, 2 plays in a row. 3rd down and 4th down. Oklahoma brought pressure trying to force the ball out of Bryce Petty's hands. Baylor just made the better play.
Empty set again, this time 8 in coverage. And a man comes open. It's Levi Norwood with his first catch inside the 15. They spot him close to a first down.
Joe, let's go back to 4th down here. Look at all the space that every wide receiver is being given by Oklahoma. You only have 3 yards to the first down, and all the defenders are playing 5 to 6, 7 yards off. It's easy pickings for Baylor. You got to get up and pressure him a little bit more. I know it's risky because you can run by him for an easy touchdown, but you can't give up that first down so easily.
And up across the board on first down from the 12.
Joe, this is a save on 3rd and 4th down.
Throws into pressure. It's Coleman at the 5. Corey Coleman with another reception. This one for 7 yards. And 2nd down and 3 for the Bears.
Joe, that was the exact same formation, exact same pressure, exact same place that Petty went with as he did on the previous 3rd down. We've seen, like we're starting to see what Oklahoma's MO is going to be. They're going to heat Bryce Petty up and force him to throw those short passes and rally to make a tackle.
Show pressure again and bringing it against the run. Petty kept it and got shut down at the line of scrimmage. So 3rd down and goal for the Bears. It's interior that Oklahoma defense was ready this time.
Joe, again, another big down for Oklahoma's defense. If you can force Baylor to kick a field goal, I would quantify that as a win. You keep it as a one-score game after a kicker penalty on a 4th down punt that gave Baylor the ball back. If you can keep this game within 6 points, I think it's a huge win for Oklahoma.
Only 10 players on the field for Oklahoma right now, and they just now see that and call a timeout.
Timeout, Oklahoma.
So 3rd down goal for the Bears with a 3-point lead. Closing minutes of this first half.
The Lincoln MKZ, the first ever MKC, the new Navigator. The Lincoln Wishlist event is on. Right now, for a very limited time, get our best offers of the year on the 2015 Lincoln MKC.
Here's our game summary brought to you by Dell. With the Bears knocking on the door, 3rd down and 3 from the 5-yard line. They've moved it down the field with 74 of their 200-some yards so far on this drive alone. And the 15th play of this drive coming up. Chafin inside the 5, and it looks like he's got a 1st down. It'll be close as Ahmad Thomas makes the tackle. They trust that offensive line on 3rd down and short range. And it looks like we're going to have to measure.
Well, Joe, that play call doesn't surprise me. I mean, Baylor, they score a lot of points, and so everybody thinks they throw it all over the place, but they're leading the Big 12 in rushing. They run the ball for almost 250 yards a game, so this is an offense that wants to run the ball first, and they're going to do it in these tough situations.
3rd consecutive season they've led the Big 12 in rushing. And it's a run play that gets them 1st down and goal. This drive that was extended by a roughing the punter penalty after a missed field goal from Michael Honeycutt. He always animated Mike Stoops. Some of his players have it as they come off with new personnel in the game, with the ball spotted at the 2 and 1st down and goal for the Bears. Most of the job has been done through the air this afternoon for Baylor. Only 27 rushing yards for the top rushing offense in the conference.
Well, Joe, and today it's because Oklahoma, they've said we're going to bring pressure. We're going to take away the run.
So far,
Mike Stoops told us yesterday that he recognizes that Baylor wants to run the football, and everything is predicated off that. So if I can take away one aspect of your offense, I'm going to take away the ground game. You've seen him bring pressure on 3rd down and 4th down a couple times on the drive. And so, consequently, Baylor has had to throw the football. They've thrown it extremely well, got a big touchdown pass to Coleman early in the ballgame. They've thrown a lot of hitches, a lot of quick throws to take advantage of the one-on-one coverage outside. But Mike Stoops is taking away the run for Baylor, and he's saying if you're going to beat me, it's going to be through the air.
Just took a look at the spot.
After further review, the ruling on the field stands. 1st down.
And it will be 1st down and goal for Baylor. What a deflating drive Baylor's putting together against Oklahoma here. This is the 16th play of this drive, extended by a penalty. They bring the pin right through the middle for a 2nd touchdown. It was 14-3 Oklahoma. And now Baylor has scored 3 consecutive touchdowns to jump back in front by 2 scores late in the 1st half.
Joe, the criticism of these types of spread offenses is that they always bog down at the goal line in short yardage situations. Well, all you need is a 400-pound fullback.
Yeah, that's all.
Just bring in Laquan McGowan and follow him into the end zone.
2nd time they've done that. Callahan with the extra point, a 24-14 advantage for the Bears. Well, Oklahoma thought they'd gotten a stop, but a roughing the punter extends the drive. Baylor converts 3rd and short, and then a 1st down and goal. It's Chafin with his 2nd touchdown of the day. Forward to that, Rob. Back here in Norman after Chafin's 2nd touchdown run of the day. And there's Diamond, who committed the roughing the punter penalty to extend the drive after Oklahoma had missed a field goal that would have tied game at 17. And this is the 4th time today we've seen the ball blow off of the tee.
What is it? Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me.
Fool me 4 times. I don't know.
Just get a holder out there. Put a finger on the ball.
Evans send it away. They'll try and keep it from the nation's top kick returner Alex Ross, and have done so successfully the rest of the day. This one has some more loft to it. Pulled in by Neal. Across the 30. Oklahoma begins down 2 scores. Time for the Allen.
Number 25, Wisconsin at Purdue. Wisconsin, Joel Stavy finds Heisman candidate Melvin Gordon and leaps into the end zone for a 27-yard touchdown, his second of the day. Badgers now lead 24-6 at the half. Back to Joe and Joey in Norman.
Wisconsin keeps on rolling. They've got Nebraska next. Beat their last 2 opponents by combined 89-7. The loss against Northwestern early on seems like a long time ago for the Badgers. It's at the 31 for Trevor Knight in Oklahoma. It's 4. Sean Oakman makes a stop, and it's been mainly Keith Ford today in his first game back since game 3.
Well, Joe, and remember, Baylor won the toss to start the game and deferred, and they're going to take the ball to start the second half. So this is a key drive for Oklahoma. You cannot afford to go down 10 points into the half and then give Baylor the ball to start the second half. You got to get some points out of this drive before going into halftime.
Bring a fullback out, bring the tight end Bell in. Down, he reads the crashing end, tries to get outside Hager, but can't. Bryce Hager's having a heck of a game from his middle linebacker spot.
Well, Joe, we mentioned the correction, the adjustment that Coach Phil Bennett made early in the first quarter. Trevor Knight burned him a couple times, keeping the ball and running the edge on the option, so he said, I'm going to commit Bryce Hager, my best tackler, to quarterback responsibility. Still crash a guy down on the running back, but Hager makes a nice tackle on Knight.
On 3rd down, Knight steps out of the tackle. Makes a cut for a first down up to the 47. Taylor Young makes the stop on Knight, who's reestablishing himself as a runner over the last couple of weeks.
And Joe, this is what Trevor Knight can do. He's a very good passer, but I think he might even be a better runner. Nice job of stepping out of the arm tackle back in the backfield and using your athleticism to get the first down. Key conversion for Oklahoma. You got to score points before halftime.
Close to double his rushing total for the season with State. He's got 51 yards in the first half today. 2 minutes left in the second quarter with a 24-14 Baylor advantage. And a timeout taken by Oklahoma, the second. 1 left for the Sooners. I'll keep it here on Fox Sports 1 and over on Fox for the best college football games all day long. That includes a game of the week. Number 6 TCU, number 7 K-State in Fort Worth. Gus Charles Molly on the call of that one. It's hard to look at that. I've had a couple people ask me, you have too. How do you see that one shaping up? It's kind of hard, right? To look at it and see which way it leans.
I have no idea.
Yeah.
I mean, usually you get a good feel for a game. I got no clue in that one.
I'll give you this. Kansas State against top 25 teams on the road over the last 2 seasons.
I'm going to guess they're good.
4.
It's kind of good.
That includes 2 wins here in Norman. Phil Bennett has had a solid plan today. His team up 24-14. Oklahoma with the ball at the 48-yard line and a first down and 10, trying to get it back to 1 score before halftime. Piron with a gain of 3. Thrown down by Blackshear. 2nd down and 7. We've not seen a ton of Pirine because it's been mainly Keith Ford in his first game back from injury.
And Joe, I like the deliberate approach that Oklahoma has taken right now. There's still a minute and a half left in this first half. And the last thing you want to do is give the ball back to Baylor and give them a chance to score.
Against a 4-man rush, Knight dumping it off for Ford, who gets a block. And Ford gets a first down, but a flag down. Back around where he caught the pass. Went for 14, but it's likely coming back.
Joe, I think they're going to get big number 79, Darrell Williams, for maybe a block in the back here.
Holding, number 79, offense. 10-yard penalty, 2nd down.
Regardless of what was called, it wipes away a first down gain.
Well, right, I thought they were going to call him for a block in the back because he got his arms around here. Well, kind of looked like a block in the back to me.
Yeah, I mean,
either way, it's a penalty.
Part of this dominant offensive line for Oklahoma. 4 seniors and a junior up front. They're the second biggest O-line in the country as far as average weight. 321 pounds per man. Fox Sports 1 college football halftime is brought to you by Dell, and it comes up in a minute 4. Second down and long. Knight under pressure, has room to take off. Gets popped from behind at the 49 by Oakman. Boy, did he take a blow there. Clock winds inside of 50 seconds. Third down and 9 for the Sooners. Crowd getting impatient. They're not going faster, but you don't want to leave Baylor with any time. Knight with all day to throw. Good field in the pocket. Deep ball is underthrown and incomplete. And he had quick running free. Fourth down.
Joe, there's 1 or 2 plays a ball game when you have a chance to make a huge play and you have to deliver that time. Trevor Knight underthrows Micaiah Quick on the deep post there. He had him running wide open for a touchdown. That's one you're going to look back on at the end of the day and say, I wish I would have had it back.
That was with the wind to his back. Punt team comes out with 25 seconds. Nobody back to return it for Baylor. And it's down at the 16-yard line with 15 seconds. Only one timeout for the Bears. They've scored 3 consecutive touchdowns after falling behind 14-3. Well, Fox Sports Supports is proud to team up with Boys and Girls Clubs of America. Boys and Girls Clubs help young people to reach their full potential as productive, caring, and responsible citizens through programs that promote character and leadership, education, healthy lifestyles, and more. For more information, visit foxsportsupports.com. Baylor out there in the victory formation to run out this first half clock. 3 consecutive touchdowns for the Bears to close this half in a 24-14 lead as they try to boost that playoff resume. Right now, the 9th ranked 1-loss team. Looking for a big win over a top 15 opponent in Oklahoma. Let's go down to Chris Budd.
Coach, offensively, you guys really stole the momentum there in the second quarter. What adjustments did you guys make?
I just think we've had some, big plays defensively and in the special teams. But, we've been able to move the ball a little bit. But, they're a good football team. There's 2 good teams playing, and 30 minutes left. We got to play really well to come out with a win.
You talk about the defense. You were able to contain them that second quarter. What do you need to do moving forward in this second half to continue to silence this Sooners offense?
Well, hopefully just keep doing that. So far it's been good, but they're talented players. Any play could be a big play. We just got to keep grinding.
I appreciate it. Thanks, Coach. Joe?
Thank you, Coach. Thank you, Chris. Right now we get you to Rob Stone in Los Angeles.
Joe, Joey, thank you. We welcome you to the Fox Sports 1 College Football Halftime, brought to you by Dell. Rob Stone, Joel Klatt, Dave Wannstedt with you once again. We've been provoked to imagine just how good this Oklahoma team would be, Joel, if Trevor Knight could clean up his game. Let's put it nicely.
Yeah, it's really too bad because the 21 straight points for Baylor has been helped out, almost provoked themselves by a poor decision from Trevor Knight. Let's go back to that interception and remember that a quarterback's eyes are his best friend, and the defense always going to read those eyes, Coach. And Bryce Hager was just sitting right in the middle of the field, read Trevor Knight's eyes, and he took him right to the football, and it's almost another pick 6. Remember, in the 2 losses that Oklahoma has, Knight has thrown pick 6s in both of those ball games. That one was almost his 3rd pick 6 in this ball game, and at 24-14, they've got to get better quarterback play out of Knight.
Yeah, from Oklahoma's standpoint, give Keith Ford the football. P. Ryan and Ross were nice fill-ins while he was hurt. Give him the ball. Baylor, the biggest decision. Baylor gets the ball in the 3rd quarter. Oklahoma's going to have the wind in the 4th quarter. So our brows right now needs to be talking to us coaches. What's our plan in the fourth quarter when Oklahoma has the ball, okay? Adjust what we're doing on offense. We're a vertical passing team. Let's make the quick throws underneath. Don't force anything. And defensively, Phil, don't give a lot of cushion. Sure. They have the wind at their back.
Yeah, absolutely.
You talked about Trevor Knight, 8 of 18, 119 yards through the air. He's the game's leading rusher so far, 57 yards on the ground. A little bit later today over on Fox, Top 10 showdown. Kansas State visiting TCU, a result that will dramatically impact the college football playoff rankings. We'll preview it next. Plus, the early top 25 highlights. Ole Miss with a test that will raise Joel Klatt's blood pressure level, and Georgia with a strong bounce-back effort as they take on Kentucky.
Fox Sports 1 College Football is presented by Cade Jewelers, and back here in Norman on a windy but pretty day. A top 15 matchup, the Bears in front of the Sooners 24-14 as we welcome you back inside the stadium and now back inside the booth. Joe Davis, Joey Harrington, Chris Button with us again in a moment. Oklahoma played pretty well for the most part in that first half, actually outgaining Baylor at this point, but some issues with mistakes that you don't normally see from an Oklahoma team where they're shooting themselves in the foot.
Yeah, there was an early offsides penalty that led to a field goal for Baylor, but Oklahoma would come back and take the lead. They looked really pretty good at that point. Looked like they could respond. But as the first quarter went on, Trevor Knight throws an interception right to Bryce Hager, who takes it down to set up a Baylor touchdown, and then the field goal miss. That really took the wind out of this crowd. The roughing the punter penalty leads to another touchdown for Baylor, and it's the mistakes that Oklahoma has made that have really given Baylor opportunities on a silver platter, and you cannot do that when you're playing a team like Baylor that can score points in bunches.
These first half stats are brought to you by Geico. Baylor has won 26 games in a row and leading at halftime. That halftime lead so important for both sides. Oklahoma with the nation's longest streak when leading at halftime. A moot point though with the Sooners down 10 as we begin half number 2. And we check in with Chris Button.
Well, Joey was spot on when he talked about the mistakes. Talked with Bob Stoops after halftime. He said, I'm proud of our defense being able to limit their run game, for the most part, be able to limit this passing attack in their third downs. But it's the mistakes that's been killing us, with the roughing the kicker, the interception, the missed field goal. We take care of that, and this is a different ball game. He says offensively in this second half, we need to get some more out of the run game.
Yeah, it's a top run game under Bob Stoops in his 16 seasons here. Now Art Briles' team trying to, for the first time in program history, get a win in Norman. Trying to, for the first time since 1991, win a top 25 road game. They begin the second half out of an empty set. Oklahoma shows pressure and brings it, as Petty's done much of the afternoon. Quickly gets it outside to Corey Coleman, who's got his 9th catch of the day.
Well, Joe, and Oklahoma starts right where they left off in the first half, bringing pressure and leaving those DBs out on an island against their very talented wide receivers for Baylor.
Second down and 4. Play action. Jay Lee, his second catch, and again taking advantage of the cushion that's provided by Julian Wilson.
Look, Joe, these are all setup plays. I mean, when you give such an easy throwing lane for Bryce Petty out to his wide receivers, he's going to take it. He's going to take 5 yards, take 6 yards. But what it does is it puts the defense in a mentality of, I'm going to have to come up and make that tackle. That's when Baylor runs by you for the big play down the field.
And zeroed up here. Nobody over the top, but again cushion. And again Lee. 5 yards, and Baylor will do that all the way down the field if you let him.
If you're going to give it to me, I'm going to take it. I mean, there's nothing special about that. The DB standing 8 yards off, I'm going to run a 5-yard route, and by the time I turn my head around, the ball's going to be there.
Same look from Oklahoma.
Joe, they keep giving this look. Don't be surprised to see the Oklahoma defense bail out into those lanes that he's trying to throw.
Coleman in space. Pushed out of bounds by Ahmad Thomas, who's got 9 tackles, tied for the team lead. 3rd down and short.
Well, here you go, 3rd down. Coach Mike Stoops told us yesterday our third down production has not been where we want it to be. This is the time that it needs to come up big. Get Baylor off the field. You're down 2 scores. You got to have the ball back in your hands.
Baylor was 4 for 10 on third down during the first half. Opening drive in the second half and a 3rd down and 3. Petty's first look was taken away, but then Coleman comes free for a 1st down on his 10th catch of the day to the 41.
Joe, that Oklahoma bailed out right into the throwing lanes. Look, you're going to see him go out. He's been throwing hitches and slants. They're just taking off on a dead sprint, and what Bryce Petty does is he waits for his receiver to get to the second window, get beyond the defender of Oklahoma, finds a nice space in the zone, and delivers the ball. Good job of recognizing what Oklahoma did to counter that.
Oklahoma again bringing pressure against empty, and they beat it with a slant. This time Antoine Goodley for 13 yards. And at some point, you've got to make an adjustment if you're Oklahoma.
The problem is you're not getting home. You're bringing the pressure, but Bryce Petty is getting the ball out of his hands so quickly that the pressure doesn't do anything. Pressure is meant to disrupt a quarterback, but if you can't get into his face in time, it's really a moot point.
Here's the adjustment. They bring only 3. It's still Coleman slipping his way for 4 or 5, and Petty's begun this second half 7 of 7.
Completion percentage issues, right?
Not right now.
Look, this young man, Bryce Petty, has gone through a lot this season. The pressure that he put on himself, trying to match the season statistically that he had last year, it's impossible. I love the way he's ground through, he's worked hard, and now he's in a position to put his team, his Baylor team, has a chance to win this Big 12 championship with a big win today.
And boy, is he in rhythm or what right now. Jay Lee's 3rd catch of this drive, and Bob Stoops hot right now. Our spotter, Paul Davis, old high school football coach, just handed me a note that said, this looks like 7 on 7. Passing league in practice. Why not? Big cushion again. And Lee sets up 1st down and goal as the Bluebirds rain down on the cushion that Oklahoma's given Baylor outside.
Well, Joe, at some point you're going to have to get up in the face of these wide receivers. You cannot allow Baylor to simply take 5 and 6 yards at a time. Yes, you risk the wide receivers running by you, but that's a risk you have to take at this time.
Coleman lined up in the backfield and takes it up the middle. What a drive for the nation's top offense. Taking what Oklahoma gives them and taking a 3-score lead to begin the second half.
Joe, you hear the cliche, well, we just took what the defense gave us. You hear it every weekend in football. This is the perfect example. You give them 6 yards, I take 6 yards. You give them 7 yards, I take 7 yards. Now you put the defense on their heels, they're reeling. You put the the receiver back in the backfield as a running back. You've created so much space that he simply walks into the end zone.
6-time Corey Coleman has carried the ball this season. They had to have him carry the ball several times recently with their normal running backs banged up. That is a statement drive from the Bears, doing whatever they wanted. Petty perfect on the drive. Then they line Coleman up in the backfield and hand it to him. It's 31-14. Bears in front.
You drive.
Now going back to the first half, Bryce Petty has completed 13 consecutive passes, including 9 of 9 on this 10-play, 75-yard drive. It began with 9 passes, and then the run to Coleman produced the touchdown. And following that drive, this is a guy in Julian Wilson, number 2 there, who's playing at a team-high 46th career game and getting into it with the Stoops brothers.
Well, you know what? He's a senior. He's emotional. You need somebody on this defense. Coach Stoops even said, we need an emotional leader on this defense right now. Hey, you're allowed to disagree. And I'm sure that he disagreed with the way that Mike Stoops was calling that defensive series.
Deron Neal pulled down at the 25-yard line. Another big game in the Big 12 coming up later tonight. Number 7 Kansas State and number 6 TCU. Don't miss this Big 12 battle. Playoff implications on Fox at 6:30 Eastern. Mentioned it during the first half. I think it bears repeating. Kansas State is 4-1 against top 25 teams on the road since 2012.
How about the job that Bill Snyder has done there in Kansas State? You know, so many teams really surprising people. Dana Holgerson in Morgantown doing a great job with West Virginia. A lot of surprising teams here in the Big 12 this year.
West Virginia and Texas follows us here on Fox Sports 1. Start this drive with a jet sweep. Micaiah Quick gets a block, then runs into his own man and limits the game. Bryce Hager getting a team-high 8th tackle on a gain of 5. Second down.
Well, Joe, you said it there. He ran right into the back of Keith Ford, and had he not, he had a running lane right up the sideline. But look, Oklahoma needs a score on this possession. They have to get a score right now because you cannot afford to give Baylor the chance to go up 38-14. You must cut this momentum right now or risk letting this game get out of control.
Keith Ford, big hole off the right side or close to a first down. I heard Coach Wannstedt during the halftime talk about how they need to keep feeding Keith Ford. You've got P. Ryan, you've got Ross, but Ford running it well in his first game back from injury. Third down and 1. It's Ford again, and he's shut down. Bo Blackshear drops him for a loss of 2. And it's 4th down for Oklahoma.
Joe, and that's the second time today that Bo Blackshear simply pushed his way into the Oklahoma backfield and made a solo tackle. Great individual effort by that young man. And Baylor's defense, again, Baylor's rush defense. I never thought I'd say that Baylor's defense comes up with a huge play.
Top rush defense in the Big 12. You wonder how skewed that is because they get ahead of teams and everybody's throwing against them. Nobody's running the ball when you're down by a few touchdowns, but they're showing that it's not necessarily all skewed.
Yeah, it didn't look skewed right there.
Play clock winding down. They barely get rid of it. Jeb Barnett punts it to Levi Norwell with a fair catch signal. Let it drop and bounce out of bounds inside the 30. 28 straight points for the Bears. Couple of touchdowns for Coleman. 1 on a go route. 1 where he lined up in the backfield. It's all Baylor right now. Oklahoma got off to a good start in this game. They led 14-3 as Micaiah Quick had a touchdown reception with Sterling Shepard out. Deron Neal did as well. And then a Trevor Knight interception from Bryce Hager. Took the ball down to the 1. Next play, they scored to go up. And then moments ago, Corey Coleman with a 3rd Baylor rushing score of the day and a 31-14 lead for the Bears as they start their second drive of this half. They go on the ground with Shock Linwood.
Joe, I'm going to be interested to see as this second drive starts in the second half. I'm interested to see if Oklahoma's DBs get up into the face of the Baylor wide receivers. It was too easy on that first drive. They need to pressure them.
Play action. Petty wants to take a shot, and as Coleman running by the corner, in stride, inside the 25. Wilson got beat, 48 yards and a Baylor first down.
Well, what do I know? When you get up and play tight coverage, they simply run by you, and that's the risk you run with Baylor. But you have to take this chance. You're down 17 points. You need to create some sort of momentum. You got to get up and jam the wide receivers. You got to disrupt them, take them off of their route. But that is the risk you run when you play tight coverage.
Here's Linwood. Short gain on first down. So second down and about 7. Well, Bryce Petty, who came into the game hitting under 50% of his passes over the last 4, has hit 14 in a row, and after a bit of a sloppy start, locked in.
Let me do some, I'm not great at math, but what is 21 of 25? Is that over 50%?
That is, yeah.
Okay,
quite
just
a bit.
checking.
Statsman Barry Allen gave you the thumbs up.
I think it's 84%, Barry.
All right. Second down. Petty takes advantage of the cushion again. Coleman against Wilson, who's having a nightmarish afternoon. Within a yard of the first down, 3rd and 1.
Well, this is what Baylor does to you on defense, is they keep you guessing. You take the 6 yards, you take the 6 yards when they play off, you come up and press them, and they run right by you. Now you don't know what to do. You're just guessing.
Linwood with a big hole. And it's first down and goal for the Bears. Stephen Parker stood him up at the 5. Bryce Petty quietly has just gone past RG3 for the most 300-yard passing games in program history. 14 in 2 years as a starter. On first and goal. Linwood fighting forward. Second down. You could hear a pin drop in here right now. Dominant performance from Baylor to start this second half. Linwood again, feeling his way into the end zone. Touchdown Baylor. 4th rushing score of the day for the Bears. And a couple of impressive, efficient drives to open the second half.
Joe, and this is eerily similar to what happened last year. A close game in the first half, a little lower scoring in last year's game, but Baylor coming out and just putting the pedal down to start the second half.
Remember, late in that first half, Michael Honeycutt had a 32-yard field goal that would have tied the game at 17. Missed it wide to the right. Since then, the Bears with 3 consecutive touchdowns and 35 consecutive points. The Bears out in front trying to boost that playoff resume, trying to get their first win ever in Norman. And Bob Stoops in danger of losing back-to-back home games for the first time. Fox Sports 1 College Football is presented by Kay Jewelers, and Bryce Petty in this Baylor offense with a couple of efficient drives to open the second half. Petty has now completed 15 consecutive passes. We talked with Art Briles about him this week. He said that there was a time early this year where he was trying to be perfect, like you said, trying to replicate those amazing numbers from last year. But Art Briles and the staff loved where his head was at coming into this one. Just focused on the outcome rather than trying to be perfect with every throw.
Well, yeah, his completion percentage is down, but he's still throwing an insane amount of touchdowns. I mean, the guy is throwing touchdowns at a higher rate than he did last year. And you cannot replicate last year. You can't do it. If you put that type of pressure on yourself, you're going to force yourself into situations where you get tight.
They chipped this one up the middle and picked up by Oklahoma. They'll start at the 38-yard line. Time now for a Lowe's Never Stop Improving Game Break with Alan Massengill.
We go back to Lexington for number 20, Georgia and Kentucky. Georgia's Isaiah McKenzie returned the opening kickoff 90 yards for a touchdown, and now he's taken off on a punt return, 59 yards for the score. Bulldogs lead 49-24. Back to Joe and Joey in Norman.
All right, Alan, good response for the Dogs. Joey, you were talking about Petty bouncing back mentally.
Well, yeah, if you try and be perfect, you play tight. It's when you just let loose, relax, and throw the football, play instinctively like you know you can. That's when you play well, and that's what Bryce Petty is doing here today.
Alex Ross in the game, a running back for the first time with a hole and with speed. Oklahoma needed a jolt, and Alex Ross gives it to him. On a run of 51 yards to the Baylor 11. His first carry of the day.
Well, that is what you need if you're Oklahoma. You need a spark. You got 3 backs in there. Samaje Perine, Keith Ford. Bring the third one in. Alex Ross, the All-American kick returner, getting the edge, showing his track speed at the end, just getting his feet tapped at the end enough to bring him down. But that's the kind of spark you need if you're Oklahoma to get this crowd back in the ballgame.
That's Orion Stewart, who was injured, making the tackle, running Ross down. What a job to run Ross down. This is a former track champion. You hate to see the sophomore from Waco, Midway High School. His first season as a full-time starter. Injured on this play. Hard to see anything from that look.
Yeah, but Joe, you mentioned it. The effort simply to catch up with Alex Ross. Maybe looked like he fell awkwardly on that left shoulder.
Take your time, two-way recovery. Take your time. Hey, he ran him down. Make the stop. He ran him down.
We had Javonte McGee banged up earlier. They've already lost Jamal Palmer to injury on defense this year. Avion Edwards has been banged up part of the season. Now Ryan Stewart, one of the safeties on this Baylor defense, and one of the safeties in a secondary that's already playing with 3 first-year starters.
He ran him down. Make the stop.
And Stewart helped off Oklahoma with a first down at the Baylor 11. Got to have a touchdown if you're the Sooners here, battling back from down 24. Again, it's Ross. Stop made by Alfred Pullum, who's in the game replacing Stewart. We had to come in for Terrell Burt earlier when Burt got banged up.
Well, Joe, nice job by the left side of the offensive line there. Tyrus Thompson and Adam Shedd for Oklahoma, opening up a big hole, but like you mentioned, Alfred Pullum coming up and making the stop right in the hole.
Offensive line for Oklahoma, one of the biggest, one of the best in the country. They're facing one of the top defenses in the Big 12 today. 2nd down and 6. Third straight carry for Ross. Hager pulls him down a yard shy of the 1st down. 3rd down and 1.
And what a huge tackle by Bryce Hager there. Ross had all sorts of room to the outside, and he hesitated for just a moment. That hesitation gave Hager just enough time to get there and make the tackle before the 1st down and the end zone. If Baylor stops him here, that could prove to be a huge mistake.
What a day for Hager, 5th-year senior out of Austin, Texas. There's an interception as well. They motion a couple of men on 3rd down and short. Ross gets hit in the backfield and dropped. Xavier Howard off of the edge with K.J. Smith. And now it's 4th down, and they'll go.
Well, you have to go. You need a touchdown here. Field goals aren't going to do you any good at this point in the ball game. But again, the tackle by Bryce Hager setting up that 3rd down and now setting up the 4th.
They go out of the gun with Ford back in the game at running back. They'll throw. Knight scrambling. Gets away from Hager. Picks up a block and throws incomplete. Baylor comes up with a stop and takes over at the 3. Oklahoma with an impressive drive to march it down. They had it 1st down from the 11. Couldn't get another 1st down. Bears have it on the other side. After the stop, Baylor takes over at its own 3-yard line. Joe Davis, Joey Harrington, Chris Budden back here in Norman. Big stop for the Bears after Oklahoma showed signs of life with the long gain for Alex Ross, but unable to punch it in. Bryce Petty's completed 15 passes in a row after a bit of a slow start, coming off a few games where he was below 50%. They go outside. It's Goodley. Stopped after a gain of 5 by Quentin Hayes. 2nd down. 2 drives in this second half for the Bears and 2 touchdowns. They led 24-14 coming out of the break. They trailed this game 14-3 at one point. Linwood here at the line of scrimmage. Stop the forward progress, blow the play dead. 3rd down.
Joan, how many times today have we said this is a huge 3rd down for Oklahoma? I mean, these mistakes, these opportunities keep piling up. Oklahoma must get off the field. They have to kill Baylor's momentum somehow. 3rd down is how you do it.
Petty looking this way towards Wilson. Coleman's got his 15th catch of the day. And Corey Coleman is across the 45. 15 catches for more than 200 yards.
Joe, when you bring pressure to try and get home and disrupt the quarterback, you leave your corners out on an island. You leave them on their own, and if you don't get home and disrupt the timing of the quarterback, that's what happens. A free lane, easy access outside. A guy like Corey Coleman, you cannot leave open in space.
Linwood, no room on the ground on 1st down. Gino Grissom stopped him. Career highs for Corey Coleman. He had a career high last week, 3 catches for 167. This week, 15 catches for 224.
How many times are we going to see a Baylor receiver go over 200 yards? Katie Cannon, week 2, the true freshman coming in the place of Antoine Goodley. Anybody, any of these wide receivers can do this.
Katie Cannon went down and got that one. They have 5 players that have had a 100-yard receiving game this year. That's the best in the country. They've somehow done it with many of their top-level guys banged up for the first month of the season. They were without Coleman. They were without Goodley. They were without Norwood, without Fuller for a good chunk of the first month. They're down at 5 for the Bears. They figure this is 4-down territory. Most of the field is for our Bryles team. Throwing the slant. Coleman again, right at the sticks, but dropped it. So it is 4th down at the 46.
Well, there you go. There's a 3rd down stop for Oklahoma. And it looks as if they forced Baylor to punt the football.
Surprised?
Surprised at the punt?
Yeah.
No. I mean, you're up 24. Midway through the 3rd, you've got this game. The thing you cannot do is give momentum back to Oklahoma. You can't go for it on 4th down and get stopped. Now you got the ball at midfield. Force Oklahoma to march the length of the field. I agree with this call.
They've gone for it on 4th down 28 times this year. 2nd most in the country. An incompletion, by the way, snapped a string of 18 consecutive completed passes by Bryce Petty. Play clock, we're showing double zeros.
Delay of game, offense, 5-yard penalty, 4th down.
They'll take the delay and then punt it into the wind. Line drive punt takes a good bounce. Well done by Spencer Roth and downed at the 6-yard line. Tomorrow, Fox Sports 1, the Big 12 Women's Soccer Championship. West Virginia taking on Oklahoma, which beat Baylor yesterday. Coverage starts at 4:30 Eastern, 3:30 Central on Fox Sports 1. Dead quiet in this place. 89-6 here under Bob Stoops. They've never lost back-to-back home games at Memorial Stadium with Bob Stoops as head coach. And will need a monster comeback to avoid that happening for the first time. Keith Ford, the running back, to begin this drive from the 6. They give it to him. Taylor Young making the stop. 2nd down and 7. And again, they're without Sterling Shepard, their top receiver, their top big play threat on the outside. Knight having to deal without him. So short-handed trying to make this comeback. They'll swing it outside. Ford makes one man miss. And then pushed out of bounds by Hager, who is hurt on that far sideline. Bryce Hager is down.
Well, that's not good for Baylor. You've already lost Jamal Palmer. Javonte McGee went down early in the game. Orion Stewart. If you lose Bryce Hager, that's 4 potential starters for this defense that could be out. Here's Bryce Hager right in the middle of your screen.
And an injured groin last year that ended his season, missed the final month. Hard to tell. He got hurt on that play. Good to see Hager help to his feet. Walks it off under his own power. What a day it's been for him. Had an interception that he took back to the 1-yard line. He's the team leader in tackles, 9 today. 5th-year senior from Austin, on his way to a 3rd All-Big 12 honor this year, likely.
Well, Joe, and I'd argue that the most important of those tackles came on 2nd down and goal on that last one for Oklahoma.
Here's 3rd down and short. They roll Knight outside to KJ Young to extend the drive against Ryan Reed.
Finally, something positive, something to cheer for Oklahoma. I mean, you got to look for the little things right now, something to build on. Get a little momentum, get a little crowd, convert a first down, and then try and get some points to get back into this ballgame.
Has one-on-one on the outside and takes advantage, hitting Deron Neal, but a flag down in the backfield.
Holding. Number 79 offense. 10-yard penalty. First down.
Second time Darrell Williams has been called for a holding penalty to erase a first down pickup today.
Joe, and it seems like every time there's something positive for Oklahoma, they shoot themselves in the foot. I mean, the mistakes continue to pile up. Costly mistakes. Roughing the punter. Inopportune holding calls. Interceptions. You can't make those type of mistakes against a great team like Baylor.
6 penalties for 54 yards on Bob Stoops' team. And instead of a first down out across the 30, it's a first down back at the 11. First down and 20 for the Sooners. Knight scrambling and throwing for Ford, who can't pull it in. Anything in particular that you've seen Baylor do today that's given Oklahoma trouble? Or is it more those self-afflicted wounds you're talking about?
Well, I think that's the key right now is anytime Oklahoma gets any sort of momentum, they're shooting themselves in the foot. I mean, they had the start of a nice drive going there. But instead, now they're knocking all the way back. They're 2nd and 20 right now. Your playbook closes up so much in long yardage situations, and it gives a great advantage to the defense.
Knight throws one into coverage. Incomplete. Grant Campbell, who's replaced Bryce Hager, thought that he had an interception, but they say incomplete, 3rd and long.
Well, that's exactly what long yardage situations force quarterbacks to do, is you think you have to get it all back in one chunk. You push the ball down the field into tight coverage, into windows where you shouldn't, and you give the defense a chance to make big plays like that. Long yardage situations are so difficult, especially for a young quarterback.
Third down and 20. Twist is picked up. Knight taking a shot for one-on-one. Incomplete. Neal well defended by Reed, and Oklahoma's got a punt.
Joe, Oklahoma's grasping at straws right now. I mean, any semblance of momentum, anything, any bit of continuity is gone. And they're simply trying to throw one out there to generate some sort of big play. But the fact is they haven't been able to sustain anything, and that's what's really hurting.
Heck of a punt right here. Norwood will watch bounce and then pick up at the 34 and get tackled from behind. 55-yard punt there for Jed Barnett with the wind to his back. About a month left in the regular season in the Big 12, which doesn't have a conference championship game. Of course, you've got Kansas State, TCU tonight on Fox Sports 1 on the 20th. K-State travels to West Virginia. How about that final day of the regular season when Kansas State visits Baylor?
Wow, that's going to be a big one. You know, the last couple of years, assuming that Kansas State wins today, they may or may not. TCU is obviously a good team, but if they do, and it sets up that Baylor-Kansas State matchup, it'll be the 2nd year in a row that the Big 12 comes down to that final week.
Last year, Baylor-Texas in the final game in the old Floyd Casey Stadium decided the title, which Baylor won. Empty set to start the drive. Antoine Goodley thrown out by Zach Sanchez. K-State and TCU later tonight, 6:30 Eastern on Fox. Kansas State with a perfect conference record. The one loss coming at home against Auburn.
3 yards on the play, brings up 2nd and 7.
Flag down.
False start. Number 61 offense. 5-yard penalty. 2nd down.
Terrell Broxton, right guard. One of the guys that has replaced the initial starters on that right side of the line. Baylor lost Desmond Hilliard at right guard, and they lost Troy Baker at right tackle. Broxton and then Pat Colbert have replaced them, and since a rough game against West Virginia have been pretty solid.
Well, that's the thing. They had to come into a tough situation against West Virginia on the road. And Coach Brown said they didn't play extremely well, but have really done a nice job since.
Petty makes one man miss. Throws across his body for Goodley with a spin. Antoine Goodley stays on his feet to the 39. 29 yards, and Goodley starting to break out.
Joe, Antoine Goodley, who's been so frustrated this year because of the injury, because defensive keying on him, does a nice job of getting himself open for a quarterback on a scramble and then does the rest on his own.
Coleman in the backfield again. Jukes his way to the 36. We go back to that last play.
Joe, again, Oklahoma bringing the pressure. Bryce Petty gets the defender up in the air, gets Stryker to jump, and then slides over. Goodley does a nice job, thinks he's going to get the ball there, finds himself a vacated spot, gives a little spin. Then the All-American senior does the rest on his own. Bryce Petty doing a nice job of leading these Baylor Bears today.
Third quarter comes to a close. Bears outscore the Sooners 14-0 in this third and have a commanding lead as we go to the fourth. Talking about boosting your playoff resume, this is one way to do it. Dominating number 15 on the road. Fox Sports 1 College Football is presented by K Jewelers, and it's produced by Eric Billigmeyer, directed by Jeremy Green. Brian Biederman, our associate director. Ben Toda, the broadcast associate. Chris Adams-Wall handling computer stats with Barry Allen. Talent stats, Paul Davis, our talent spotter, Joe Davis, Joey Harrington, Chris Budden. The Bears 15 minutes away from winning in Norman for the first time and winning a road top 25 game for the first time since the year that Bryce Petty was born back in 1991.
You know what I wonder, Joe? Is this the moment when Baylor breaks out of the, let's not call it a bias, but the belief that they can't crack that glass ceiling, that they don't play a tough enough schedule, that they don't have what it takes to be a true top 10 team? I think we're seeing one of the best teams in the country put a thumping on a very good team on the road.
They start this fourth quarter with a second down. Petty out of an empty set like he was for much of the third. It opens up in the middle and he takes off. Going down shy of the 30. And you talked about that schedule. I mean, statistically speaking, the schedule is not good. 109th nationally as far as opponents' win percentage. That's second worst among the one-loss teams in the top 25. Duke, the only team that has a worst opponent's winning percentage.
But in all fairness, they haven't played the meat of their Big 12 schedule. They got Oklahoma today. They finished the season with Kansas State. The teams they played in the Big 12 up to this point have helped contribute to that.
Yeah, and up the middle goes Chafin with a first down inside the 20.
And Joe, while there is there's some definite legitimacy to the fact that Baylor did not schedule a tough non-conference game, and they have played some of the softer teams in the Big 12 to start the conference schedule. If they run the rest of this season, if they win today and beat Oklahoma on the road, beat Kansas State to end the season, they will have beat TCU, Kansas State, and Oklahoma. And I think those quality wins, once everything is said and done, will stack up against anybody in the country.
We've talked about it, that final weekend of the regular season. We'll have K-State at home. Could be for the conference title. Chafin slammed down inside the 10 by Grissom. Baylor's only win over a team with a record better than 500 this year is against TCU, 61-58 at home in early October. This is certainly their most impressive game of the season.
Well, Joe, I think we'd all agree that TCU is a pretty good football team, right? That's a pretty solid win. When you're scheduling games in the Big 12, and yes, I think the majority of the country would say, Baylor, it's time for you to now go out and schedule a tougher non-league schedule, to schedule some tougher non-league games. But you can't bank on the fact that Texas is going to be a below 500 team, that Oklahoma State is not going to be as good as they have been in the past. If you play your conference schedule just by looking at it, Texas, Oklahoma State, Oklahoma, Kansas State, TCU, those are quality teams. And to run that schedule, I think, is deserving to be in the discussion at the end.
Chris Callahan has nailed 12 in a row after starting the season 1 for 6. It was 14-3 Oklahoma at one point. The Bears have ripped off 38 in a row, largely because of the performance of that guy, Bryce Petty. And Oklahoma in danger of losing back-to-back home games for the first time under Bob Stoops. Oklahoma home to 5 Heisman winners and all immortalized with statues around the stadium. And a few of them in attendance today. The Saturday morning kick here in Norman. Steve Owens, Billy Sims, Jason White all in attendance. Owens the 1969 winner. Billy Sims won in 78. Jason White in 2003. Most recent one was Sam Bradford. How about Billy Sims high step?
Ooh, he still got it.
Not much to cheer about, though. Memorial Stadium today for Oklahoma after that first quarter where they led 14-3. Baylor came out in the second half and from the opening drive absolutely dominated. Spencer Evans will kick it away. Done a nice job today keeping it away from Alex Ross. Taken by one of the up men. And up in the 34-yard line with a flag down goes Connor Knight, Trevor Knight's twin brother. Plays tight end for the Sooners team.
Well, Coach Briles told us if we kick it to Alex Ross, it's a mistake. They're kicking to everybody else but Alex Ross.
Offside on the kicking team, number 7. That 5-yard penalty will be enforced from the end of the kick. First down.
Let's check in with Chris Budden for an update on Bryce Hager.
Yeah, you saw him limp off the field a couple of series ago. He's dealing with a hip pointer, and defensive coordinator Phil Bennett went up to him while he's getting worked on and goes, "Can you get back out there?" He goes, "Yeah, coach." So not out there quite yet, but he says he's ready to go.
In a 41-14 game with 12.5 minutes left. Those two guys have spent many late nights watching film together. Phil Bennett, Bryce Hager, quarterback of his defense at that middle linebacker spot. Incomplete, looking for Neal on first down. But a touchdown early on in this game. There's Hager. His father is the all-time leading tackler at Texas. Flag coming in. A false start.
False start. Number 79. Offense. 5-yard penalty. Second down.
Rough day for Darrell Williams. Now, Oklahoma has not played well today, but it's time to start giving Baylor some credit.
Right.
They're better than the 12th team in the country.
Absolutely. I mean, you mentioned the time that Coach Bennett and Bryce Hager have spent together. Everybody thinks Baylor is just an offensive team. This defense is playing good football this year, and they're holding to good football teams to very small amounts of yards. This is a well-rounded, very well-coached Baylor football team.
Neal has it against Howard. Sets up a manageable third down. The defense under Bennett in his 4 seasons there has improved each year. Coming to this game, 31st nationally in scoring defense. His first season, they were 113th in the country.
I love the way that Coach Bennett has just little by little changed the philosophy, changed the mentality of this defense. You know, guys like Bryce Hager have been around for a while. Sean Oakman has developed into a tremendous player from last year. Andrew Billings on the inside. Young man from Waco High School has helped contribute to the turnaround of this Baylor defense. This is a group effort.
Oakman gets Knight 2 yards short of the first down. So 4th down and about 2 for the Sooners. Talking about the turnaround under Phil Bennett in his 4 seasons. Remarkable what he's done. And inherently, with the way the offense plays, you're put at a disadvantage as a defense because the offense goes so quickly. And yeah, you're going to have a lot of points, so you can give up more, but you're going to be on the field a lot.
Well, that's the key. You're going to be playing defense for somewhere between 80 and 100 plays per game. And Coach Bennett mentioned the rotation, losing Jamal Palmer, Javonte McGee, but he's developed enough talent to fill in those gaps, and boy, have they filled in well.
Fox Sports 1 College Football is presented by K Jewelers. There's a mascot eating somebody. And here is a 4th down and 2. Ford motions out. Knight under pressure and stays on his feet long enough to extend the play, but that's all. Sack back at the 31. Grant Campbell is filled in nicely for Bryce Hager, combining to sack Knight, who was slow to get up. He's dealt with a left shoulder injury. First separated it last year against Oklahoma State. Hurt it again against Kansas State a few weeks ago. And at least here it's clear they're looking at the left side of the body.
Joe, Trevor Knight took a big cleanup shot here at the end.
That's big Sean Oakman, the last one in there at 6'9", 280. We'll take a break. Well, Trevor Knight still down after that sack play on 3rd down. The entire training staff around the sophomore from San Antonio, Texas. Cody Thomas is his backup, who had been banged up over the first month or so of the season. That's largely why you didn't see Trevor Knight running as much. And that's his twin brother right there, Connor Knight, talking with Bryce Petty. A few Texas guys. So continue to take a look at Trevor Knight. While we have a moment, let's check into LA for an update.
We go to the Carrier Dome for number 22 Duke and Syracuse. Game tied at 10. Duke's Jamison Crowder takes the punt. 52 yards for the go-ahead touchdown. Blue Devils lead 17-10 in the 4th quarter. Back to Joe and Joey and Norman.
Okay, Alan. It's another one-loss team there in Duke. Breaking that tie late in the Carrier Dome. They're getting Knight onto a board. We'll update it in a moment after this. A tough moment to watch here in Norman. Oklahoma quarterback Trevor Knight sacked on a 4th down play, unable to get up, and has now been put onto a stretcher and onto the cart. And does with a sign to the crowd as they take him off.
On the previous play, sideline warning, Baylor. They're first.
So we'll eagerly await over the coming hours here an update on Knight's condition, which everybody here is wondering about, everybody watching at home. As the sophomore quarterback is taken off. Wide snap pulled down. And Chuck Linwood goes inside the 30. Well, it tends to put things in perspective when you see something like that. Guy that's been under heat after a monster finish to last season. We talked about the expectations being a little bit unfair for him coming into this year. One thing remains, regardless of the numbers for Trevor Knight, the remarkable fact that he's a team captain as a sophomore. This is a guy that is incredibly well respected by the guys that he shares a locker room with.
Well, absolutely. And it doesn't change the fact that he's a 19 or 20-year-old young man.
Yeah.
I mean, no matter how many interceptions you throw at key times during ball games, it doesn't take away from the fact that he's a good person, a good young man who's trying his best out here, and you hate to see something like that happen.
The Bears trying to run some clock with his 41-14 lead. Game was 14-3 Oklahoma during the first quarter. Art Briles' offense struggling to get in gear. The offense never looked spectacular in the first half, but this entire second half has been as impressive as this #1 rated offense has been at any point.
I think this team has been as impressive as they have been at any point this year. And I think if you're a voter in the college football playoff poll, you have to take notice of this. I mean, this is a good Oklahoma team. This is a team that lost 2 games to top 10 teams by a combined total of 5 points. And Baylor has come into Norman and absolutely dominated this football game.
One loss for the Bears came against West Virginia on the road a couple of weeks ago. You get rid of that, and they're no doubt one of the top 4 teams in the country. And I think with this performance today, even with the 1 loss, they're going to jump higher than being the 9th ranked 1-loss team, according to the committee. Inwood on 4th down will convert across the 20.
Well, even if they don't move up in the minds of the voters, they're simply going to move up by the fact that there's 6 games being played today involving ranked teams, and some teams ahead of them are going to lose.
They're behind a 2-loss team right now as well in Ole Miss, who's 1 spot ahead of them.
Well, yeah, TCU plays K-State, 1 and 2. Arizona State plays Notre Dame. Alabama and Oregon both have big games against LSU and Utah respectively, who are outside of the top 10. But at the very least, 2 of those teams are going to fall out of the 10, which would leave a spot for Baylor.
Yep, either Notre Dame or Arizona State, and then either TCU or K-State, and then a chance, like you said, up at the top of the rankings for a couple of top 5 teams. Top 25 games as well. 30-second break in a 41-14 game. Back to Norman after this. Well, you said it, Joey. This is a Baylor team right now considered among the bottom part of the 1-loss teams. I got a good feeling for Bears fans that Tuesday when those rankings come out again, that's going to flip. This is going to be one of the highest rated 1-loss teams, and part of that discussion for the 2 spots outside of the unbeaten teams like Mississippi State and Florida State.
Well, yeah, and part of it is the fact that we just have to let the college football season play out. I mean, you're looking at this, a single snapshot this week based on what you've done up to this point of the season, but some teams have backloaded schedules. Some teams have played their quality games to start the year, and as this college football season plays out, we see it every year, Joe. Teams lose in November. The pressure builds. These are young men who are trying to accomplish great things, and you cannot, unless you've been there, you cannot imagine the type of pressure that builds for these kids as they play deep into the football season.
And for the, I think, honestly, 5th time today, the ball's blown off the tee. They get a holder. And Spencer Evans pops another one up. Connor Knight, Trevor's brother, takes it across the 35. How about our Academy Sports and Outdoors Right Stuff player of the game? It's Corey Coleman. What a day for him. 3 catches for about 67 last week. It was the big plays. This week, it was the quantity of plays. 15 catches for 224 for the sophomore.
Well, Corey Coleman was all over the place. 7 touchdowns over the last 5 games. Adds another couple to that total. Look, the depth of this receiving core for Baylor is incredible. To have a consensus All-American and Antoine Goodley last year, missed the first 3 games, have him be replaced by a true freshman who midway through the season was leading the country in receiving, and now, oh, by the way, their 3rd guy, Corey Coleman, happens to catch 15 balls for 200-plus yards and a couple of touchdowns. That's talent.
Alex Ross runs for a 1st down. For those of you tuning in for the West Virginia-Texas game, we'll get you out there immediately at the conclusion of our game, and in the meantime, flip over to Fox Sports 2 or stream it on the Fox Sports Go app or foxsportsgo.com. West Virginia and Texas down in Austin. Cody Thomas in the game now. Micaiah Quick goes up to grab it. Patiently waits for Young to set up the block. And gets a few. Terrell Burt makes a tackle. Cody Thomas, redshirt freshman from Texas, also an outfielder on the Oklahoma baseball team, replacing Trevor Knight, who was carted off with an injury that to this point is undisclosed. Who would have thought the 6:50 mark of this fourth quarter, you'd have Cody Thomas in the game in front of a mostly empty stadium. Ross with a short game. Do you think Baylor is 48-14 better than Oklahoma?
Today they are. I mean, if they played this ball game 10 times, probably not. Oklahoma's a good football team and committed some costly errors, turning the football over deep in their own territory, a couple costly penalties. But that's football. You only get one chance. And right now, you can sit and argue it. Are they better? Are they not? Hey, they're 48-14 better than Oklahoma today, and that's all that matters.
Thomas throws low for Ross, 4th down. Meanwhile, Oklahoma will fall to 6-3, a team that was picked to win the conference by the coaches. Fresh off that Sugar Bowl win over Alabama last year. Despite Baylor being the returning champion and bringing back a lot, really outside of the secondary.
Well, if there's a positive, if there's a light at the end of the tunnel for Oklahoma fans, it's the fact that they're an extremely young football team. Trevor Knight's a sophomore. Samaje Perine a freshman. Alex Ross is a sophomore. Sterling Shepard's a junior. On defense, Stryker's a junior. Your 2 middle linebackers are both sophomores. You got a lot of youth around this football team, and the potential for Oklahoma down the road is huge.
Norwood takes a fair catch. Baylor takes the ball at the 11. Our insider Stuart Mandel put this together for us. His projections of the New Year's 6 bowl matchups as of the current rankings. Of course, you've got the 4-team playoff with the 1 versus 4 and the 2 versus 3 and the Sugar and the Rose respectively. And then the other teams fall into those 4 New Year's 6 bowls.
All right, there's a new formula based on your rankings by the College Football Playoff Committee once you fall outside of that top 4. And this is, what do we say? This is about 90% accurate. You can basically project where teams are going to go. The highest ranked group of 5 team getting in there with that being Marshall right now. But we've talked about it, a lot of football left to play here.
Seth Russell in for the first time, redshirt sophomore from Garland, Texas, and has Johnny Jefferson in there running back. High snap is pulled down, and Jefferson hits the hole hard and goes up to the 20. Let's check in with Chris Budden.
Yeah, quick update on Trevor Knight. He is still in the locker room. He's getting x-rays right now. There is an ambulance parked outside of the locker room. They took a stretcher out of the ambulance, but they have not loaded him in it. Right now, Trevor Knight's still in the locker room. When I get more word, I'll give it to you guys.
We appreciate it, Chris. Tonight was carted off following a sack a few minutes ago in this 4th quarter. Jefferson again on 2nd down. Good patient running to find space. And a first down to the 25. So Russell has replaced Bryce Petty, who had, in a great career, one of his very best games today.
Well, yeah, I think people have knocked Bryce Petty down from the pedestal that he was on to start the season because of kind of an up and down middle part of the year. But we talked about it, the pressure that he puts on himself. The pressure from the outside of being a Heisman Trophy candidate. The pressure of really lifting this Baylor program to heights that they've never been before. Today was one of his all-time great performances, coming on the road to Norman in a place that they had never won under Art Briles. Give the young man a lot of credit. And frankly, I think a performance like this puts him back into the fringe of the Heisman Trophy discussion. And I think can push him back into the reality of it as the season goes on if he plays this well.
He's a guy that went 1,700 days between starting football games. Graduated high school back in 2009, did Bryce Petty. That's around when I graduated high school. We're talking about a guy.
Come on now.
Not around when you graduated high school, though. You can go back a little farther than that.
Some of us are getting older.
Gray shirted for a year, taking JUCO classes, Enrolled at Baylor in 2010, redshirted, mop-up duty 2011, backed up Nick Florence in 2012, and then finally took over the starting job last year and set 17 school records in that monster season that made the expectations this year, a lot like Trevor Knight's bowl game made the expectations for him this year, pretty unrealistic.
Well, one thing I think we all forget about is the fact that he also broke his back in the first game of this year. When we talk about playing through injury, Bryce Petty fractured 2 vertebrae in his back in his first game against SMU this season. Fought through that to start the season. So there's a lot of things that have played into his relative inconsistency, but to see him playing at this level, this late in the year, that says a lot about the character of that young man.
Same injury Tony Romo's dealing with right now. Bryce Petty said earlier this week, Tony will be fine.
It's just a broken back, you know,
yeah,
he's
right.
fine.
First team in FBS history to score 34 or more against Oklahoma in 4 straight games. And I mean, this was an impressive performance, impressive game plan from those 2 guys you just saw, Bracian and Art Briles, who's the offensive mastermind, and Phil Bennett, the defensive coordinator. And the guys on the field just made plays. Got to go back to 1991 to find the last time Baylor beat a top 25 team on the road. Never before they beaten Oklahoma in this stadium. And certainly boosting that playoff resume today. First time Baylor's won a game in this stadium, and Art Briles getting his first road win against a ranked opponent in 12 tries. Staggering to think about, with all the success that he's had in his time at Baylor, that they've not gotten a true road win against a top 25 team. They've got neutral site wins, they've gotten wins in bowl games against the top 25, but until now, never has Art Briles taken a team into an opposing team stadium ranked in the top 25 and come out with a win.
Well, and I think that's been part of the criticism. I mean, you factor in the schedule, the soft non-conference schedule, the fact that they've never gone on the road and beaten one of the best in the conference. Hey, knock one of those off the list. This is a good Oklahoma football team. Norman is always a tough place to play, and they came in and dominated.
That's kind of a part of the logical progression, right, for Art Briles in this program. First, it was going to a bowl game. Remember, not too long ago, 5 years ago, this team went 4-8. Missed out on a bowl game for their 16th consecutive year. So they finally get to a bowl. They win a bowl game. They have a Heisman Trophy winner in Robert Griffin. They win a conference title last year and go to a BCS bowl. They get a new stadium, and now here they are. It's a very big part of the playoff discussion in the first year of this format. Under Art Briles, who signed an extension during the offseason, has him under contract through 2023. All kinds of overtures for him that included from Texas during the offseason. They obviously went the Charlie Strong route.
Well, much like we talked about Oklahoma a minute ago in their youth, you see Seth Russell in right now, but Baylor is looking to make a great run and build on this. Katie Cannon's a freshman. Shock Linwood and Devin Chafin are both sophomores. Corey Coleman's a sophomore. On the other side of the ball, Andrew Billings, who coach called probably their defensive MVP, is a sophomore. I mean, you have youth all over this football team, and Baylor is set up to be a dominant team in the Big 12 for a long time.
They'll have to snap it just one more time. And after trailing this game 14-3, Baylor dominates and wins it 48-14. Wanted Oklahoma in that second half to less than 100 yards. They moved 8-1 in the season and likely into the top 10 when those rankings come out on Tuesday. For Joey Harrington and Chris Budden, the rest of our crew, Joe Davis saying so long from Norman. Right now, let's get you to West Virginia, Texas. Craig Bolerjack, Ryan Neese with a call. Take it away, guys.